Welcome to the Mo Chatta Show with Big E. Our featured guest is a nationally renowned wrestler with roots from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. He's a college Hall of Famer and a national champion.
Hey, Big E, I've been waiting for this one.
Yeah?
Yes.
You've been telling me about it.
I know. It's someone I've turned to a lot growing up. We've been boys like brothers. Everybody knows him as my cousin. But he's Steve Allen. Come on, baby. Welcome to the Mo Chatta podcast, brother. How are you?
Hey, Mo. Thanks for having me. You and Big E. First, we're not cousins. You're like my little brother.
Yeah,
you know
that's for
that.
sure.
And
I'm taller, though.
You little and wider now. You used to not be, but you are now. It's been a minute, but no. Hey, first, congratulations, you guys, man. This is really cool.
Thank you.
You know, I've been invited to Shay and all of them, and I said no. Not before I go Mo Chatta.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So
Yeah, Mo did this one with, we did it with some crayons, so
There
this
we go.
turned out pretty good.
hey,
Times are tough, bro.
you may not know this about Mo, but Mo has always been artistic.
Yeah.
He used to draw a lot when he was a
Yeah.
kid and was very, very good at it. So, yeah. But no, thank you guys for having me, though. It's exciting to be here and just chop it up with you fellas for a while, see what we got.
Yeah, see what we run into. You know, I'm
Yeah.
excited to have you on. Mo's been talking about you for a while, and I know I've got some buddies in the wrestling world that have been talking about coming on. So that's one thing we wanted to make sure we cover is wrestling too. I know it doesn't you don't turn on the news too often and see wrestling. You know, you don't see a lot of sports. So that's one thing we want to make sure we touched on, especially with both of our connections in the sport. And then there's a big event too that's coming up this weekend. And then right after that, I think in March, the Big 12 tournament's coming too. State is this week. Is it this weekend in Oklahoma City?
Yeah. You know, this is really we're in postseason for wrestling through high school, college, all levels. The high school wrestling this weekend going in Oklahoma City. They had their regionals this past weekend for all their qualifiers. Teams are loading up. A little bit different deal in Oklahoma this year, kind of back to like it was when I was in high school. State tournament's now a 3-day tournament.
Oh, wow.
One of the biggest reasons for that is the growth of girls wrestling in Oklahoma.
Nice.
A lot of people
I
that
forgot
listen,
about that, too, yeah.
a lot of people that listen may not even know that there's girls wrestling in Oklahoma. It's actually one of the fastest growing youth sports in the country.
That's awesome.
And it's really exploding in Oklahoma. I think they've almost doubled their numbers from when they first started. So it's huge. It's growing big. And then the college level, you've got the NAIAs had their conference tournaments last weekend, so they're going into their national tournaments next weekend. Then this weekend is also Division II regional tournaments to get their placers. So then after next weekend will be the Division IIs, and then Big 12 conference tournament going on in Tulsa at BOK.
Yeah.
Be hosted by the Cowboys, and then you roll into Kansas City at the end of the month and the national tournament in Kansas City. So it's a great time to be a wrestling fan for sure this time of year.
Big wrestling postseason everywhere.
Yeah,
It is. It's all over.
So you say Cowboys are hosting it. So the Oklahoma State Cowboys are hosting at the BOK?
Yeah, from my understanding, that's how it's been. They work with the Tulsa Sports Commission, who's kind of the event sponsor, but they're the host school. So
Okay.
I think every conference championship has a host school. That's the
Gotcha.
host school for I believe it's Oklahoma State, and it may be 8 years running. It's been a while. They've had it in BOK for a long time. It's really cool. It's a Saturday Sunday event. It's not your typical Friday Saturday, so it's a Saturday Sunday. Pretty cool down there. Be some great wrestling. Big 12's gotten big. It's expanded. I think there's 12 teams now in the Big 12 wrestling when there only used to be 8 and 5 at one time. So they said Big 12 conference, they'd have 5 teams or whatever.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The damn tournament be over by noon.
Yeah.
You know, so if they wanted it, so it's big, it's grown. They've got Air Force, they've got Wyoming, they've got a lot of great schools.
Yeah, Mizzou.
Mizzou's in there now.
They got a Colorado school, I think,
They
in
do.
there.
They do. They got what is it? The Bears, whatever the Bears are, blue and gold.
That in Wyoming too, right?
Wyoming's in there.
Yeah, it's not like your Big 12 like college football slate teams that you see. It's completely different.
It is. Air Force is in there.
Yeah,
Air Force is in there.
Yeah.
Be really cool is if wrestling didn't get cut at the college level, and some of these schools that are Big 12 conferences, It'd be all, like BYU's Big 12 member. They used to have wrestling.
Yeah.
They don't have it anymore. I mean,
That's
there's
crazy,
some
yeah.
there's some big time people that would be wrestling in that big time schools.
Yeah, does Texas have? I mean, I've been to the Big 12 championship at the BOK the last couple of years, but I can't remember. Maybe my memory's just fading in my old age over here, but I don't remember seeing Texas.
They do not. There's no Division I college in Texas. It's sad because it's a huge sport in Texas. Wrestling is.
Yeah.
And it's actually maybe one of the first states to start girls wrestling, and it's huge. They just don't have a Division I program, which is sad. With all the money University of Texas has, and not have a wrestling, it's a disservice to those kids in that state and those athletes.
That's great. That's funny you asked that because I guess I haven't looked at it. I've never known that. I've never known Texas. I mean, when you see Texas, especially University of Texas, you think they have every sport. I mean, they're always in. They're up in the top five.
Yeah, you just assume they would.
Yeah,
just like OU or Oklahoma State, they'll have everything: golf, gymnastics,
for sure.
tennis.
Well, and it's funny because now since you've been, you're looking at the TikTok, social media stuff. You have a lot of girls wrestling. So, is that kind of the new thing where it's going to spread out outside of Oklahoma, or is it kind of already there now? Or?
Yeah, it's a good point. That kind of takes it back to kind of how we started in Oklahoma. I feel it was not a sanctioned sport in Oklahoma 4 years ago, I believe, 3 or 4 years ago. My math could be off, but all the states around Oklahoma were starting to be a state sponsor for girls wrestling. Kansas was getting it. Missouri was getting it. It's already sanctioned in Texas. And I saw Missouri sanctioned in Texas. And being a member of the school board in Broken Arrow, and with a tremendous amount of young ladies, we're large high school in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And seeing these states start to sponsor, have a state-sponsored wrestling for girls, and it's an Olympic sport. So I went to our administration and said, hey, what do you guys think about starting girls wrestling team at Broken Arrow? There's college scholarships available for these young ladies. There's just opportunities for them to grow, get an education where they may not have an opportunity, and plus all the lessons that you learn from discipline, dedication, time management, weight management, all the disciplines that go in with it, the life lessons you learn. It's just really good for young people to be a part of that. And I went and asked our administration. We had a meeting, asked them, and they said, love it, let's talk about it. And we talked about it, and it was not sanctioned in Oklahoma.
Wow.
So we had conversations, and we said, you know what? Because of the success of our men's program they've won 20 state titles in men's wrestling in Oklahoma, has been very successful. The conversation we had is like, we feel if we start a team at Broken Arrow, even though it's not sanctioned, we feel it may have an impact on the state to end up sanctioning the sport. Well, sure as shit, the administration was all in and committed. They did it right. They set it up to where like right now, there's always been girls that have wrestled in high school in Oklahoma.
Right.
We've had some in Broken Arrow. There's been several of them. Allison Hines is one that wrestled for the boys, wrestled for the junior high boys, placed at the Edmond tournament, boys state tournament.
But that's not.
Just girls. That's boys.
Mixed, right?
So what BA decided to do was, listen, if we're going to do it, you're going to do it right.
Yeah.
And they wanted their own designated coaching staff instead of having the girls practice with the boys and say, hey, we got a girls team.
Yeah.
It was, hey, we're going to give them their own room. You're going to give them their own locker rooms. Obviously, you got to have their own locker rooms.
Yeah.
But and their own designated coaching staff, and they're going to have their own schedule. So they're going to operate independently as a girls wrestling program.
Just like any other sport would have, the girls soccer team, girls tennis team.
Yeah, if you're going to do it,
girls
that's the way
basketball.
to do it.
Yeah.
Don't say you have girls wrestling, but they're just practicing with the boys, and then hey, we'll go wrestle a couple girls tournaments. So.
Yeah, it's like saying we got a girls baseball team, but there's like 2 girls on the men's team.
Exactly. So they did it. They wrestled the season, and I think as a result, they had like an unsanctioned state tournament. Then the next year, because they won the first unsanctioned tournament, and then they won the first official tournament.
Nice.
BA did.
That's
and
cool.
then Unions won. I think they've only had like 3 of them.
It's like a little trailblazing thing. Like,
Well,
we won the
we
first
felt-
unsanctioned one, and then boom.
So our goal was to really be a trailblazer, provide these young ladies in the district a great opportunity to do a great sport that they could go be an Olympian in.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know,
That's
and may help them get their job or whatever it may be. And,
Yeah.
you know, use wrestling because maybe they can't make it on the cheer team. You'd be amazed how many cheerleaders from cheerleading go out for the wrestling team.
I
Really?
don't know that shit.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing too. Is like with me not knowing that they would have. I've seen a couple girls mixed in with obviously with the people we know, but I never thought they would have it all women's, right?
Yeah.
And then, but what was crazy is what was the numbers when it kind of started out like that? Was there? Did you get the response that you wanted, or is that something that kind of took a couple years, or?
You know, it's a good question. I think they were relatively surprised that they had pretty good numbers. And then I may be up. I think they're in the 30 to 40 range to start out with. And that was junior high through high school.
Okay.
So they were 30 to 40 maybe. I think they're pushing 60 to 70 now.
Oh wow.
Right now.
I don't never know that.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, especially just all girls, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, well, they qualified 10 out of 14 weights for the state tournament.
wow.
They won the region.
Nice.
that's awesome.
They've won several tournaments. The BA girls have a coach. Her name's Tori. I forget her last name. She's a Missouri Valley alum, where I went to college at. She went and wrestled at the OTC in Colorado Springs. Was on the world ladder. She did some grappling. She's like a grappling world champion.
Oh, wow.
So you think I should take her?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
No shot at the title of that.
You don't want that title.
Yeah,
though.
I give you 2.5 seconds before you hit the ground.
I've seen her down there and actually coach some girls. She looked like she whipped someone's ass. So,
No shot of that shit. I promise
she
you.
knows her stuff, and
That's good.
and she's very well respected, connected in the sport. So she's helping take Broken Arrow girls wrestling to an even higher level.
Yeah.
And I looking at her team that she qualified, and I think 9 out of 10 that qualified are like freshmen, sophomore.
Oh, that's cool.
No senior. I think maybe
Yeah.
one senior. So I mean, she's
that's
got
wow.
some horses that she's going to be bringing back
Yeah.
next year. So it's exciting, man. Girls, if you ever reach a girls match, they scrap, dude. They're mean.
Yeah.
They are mean. Them girls are mean. They're on. They're so much more coachable than the guys. They
Yeah.
listen.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
Guys are stubborn.
they're stubborn.
Hard-headed.
You know,
Well, and that's another thing that I want to get into, just because obviously we grew up together. I mean, with us with our family. I mean, I think I'm the only person that don't have cauliflower in my family.
Yeah.
I mean, every one of my families are like. I mean, that's why we had to be tough. I mean, God rest her soul, but his mom, Colleen, I mean, I think she had cauliflower too. She was mean, you know what I mean? She was mean as hell. But that's the thing with our family, and I kind of want to get into it because my biggest thing is we both was raised by moms. We didn't have dads.
Yeah.
So we kind of, me watching him not eating stuff on Thanksgiving, I said, fuck that. I'm not doing. I want to eat on Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? And then
I want a couple plates here.
You know what I'm saying? I want rolls and
Yeah.
shit. They're like weighing stuff.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I don't want that. I don't want that in my life. But what people don't know, and I'm sure Ethan don't know, is I want what kind of got you. Like, is there something that with us not having dads, were you angry, or was it something that basically? No, I'm just saying, like, I want to, you know what I mean, like because wrestlers, and we talked about this, me and Big E, is wrestlers are different breeds. You know what I mean? It's like it is what it is, and I just want your perspective on to him and to me is kind of what triggered you. What kind of said, you know what, I'm going to go this route. Because listen, another thing, he's played football. He's got All-American stuff. He plays soccer. He's played every sport at Broken Arrow.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Because he went up wrestling since you were how old? I mean,
well, I think I started wrestling late in elementary school, and it may have been because of happenstance. Like Mo said, not having dads, spend a lot of time at grandma's house.
Yeah.
And grandma's house was in West Tulsa.
Yeah.
Well, just so happened to be right by West Tulsa was a community center.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they had a wrestling team called Blue Tea.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? My uncle wrestled for Blue Tea. So, and then you wrestled for Webster, and so my uncle's a wrestler, so he said, hey, I'm going to take your butt down there and get you into wrestling.
Getting in Blue Tea.
So I'm like, all right, let's go. So it's funny how it all ties in now to date at 52, because back then at Blue Tea, there was one of the coaches there was Ernie Jones, who is a legend in high school coaching. Longtime Webster coach, won multiple state titles, very successful. Coached at Booker T, coached the great Kenny Monday, and a lot of those.
Was he coaching there in the 70s at Booker T? That's where I went to high school.
Probably was in the 70s.
I always saw
Kenny Monday was there, so it would have been late 70s, early 80s.
Because there's four at Booker T. There's 4 wrestling state titles on the wall from the 70s. And then they just got the wrestling program back recently, which is awesome.
Yeah. So, and what's funny about that though is, Coach Ernie Jones has a son, Sean Jones, who's close to my age. He has another son named Biff Jones, who's the middle, and the youngest one, Rod Jones, the Jones brothers. So go through wrestling, and I say that just to get to here in a minute, but I start wrestling there, then I go to Broken Arrow for a little bit. Actually got in a little trouble in 7th grade, 7th grade, and I got to go on vacation at the Tulsa Boys Home.
Vacation.
So I wrestled for Sand Springs in 7th grade, and then I came back out and wrestled in Broken Arrow in my wrestling history. But and to the point about what triggered me, I would think my uncle led me there. I think the one-on-one aspect, and there's probably some anger in there, like, I can fight this kid for real and not get in trouble.
Yeah.
And I might get whooped, but I may be able to whoop him, and I'm not going to get in trouble for it. So, that was probably part of it. And then as I got older, and when you go out there, and I don't have to worry about 10 other guys, if some of them will jump off sides. Mm-hmm. Or
the quarterback throws it wrong or something. Yeah.
Well, that never happened. That was Greg Sickler. He just never threw it to me. I'm still pissed off at it. We were in Raggle late, and he threw it to Kyle Berry. He didn't throw it to me. So, and I was wide open. I let him know about it. But no, just the one-on-one aspect of, and it's what life is. It's either me or him. You go out there, and when they blow that whistle, you don't hide behind your blocker. You don't got to worry about him getting to the defense first. Mm-hmm. It's you and him, and it's either he's kicking your ass or you're kicking his ass, and best man wins. And sometimes the best man don't win, but then you learn from it. And go, okay, what happened? He catch me, or and need to go back and evaluate and practice and get better. And had some great role models in wrestling that helped me. My uncle got me involved, being a part of the Blue Tea and with Coach Jones, and then coming back and over at Sand Springs with Coach Carstetter when I was over there, and working through the middle school, and who ended up being my all-state coach when I was a senior, and going to Broken Arrow, Coach Hill, and my
Coach Donnie.
I didn't get to wrestle.
Oh, you didn't?
That's kind of I'm sad about that. But Coach Hill, and then I went and wrestled with legendary Coach Lean at Garden City, and then finished up and wrestled with probably one of my biggest heroes as a coach that didn't know shit about wrestling, but he was a heck of a person, a great coach, was Coach Mockles.
Oh, yeah.
And
which is funny you say that, because obviously I know him, right? I mean, you would think that guy knows everything about wrestling, right? And then he's truly a great role model. I mean, personal. He is unbelievable. You don't know him. Maybe you have to look up some of the stuff. He is unbelievable. But, going off of what you said is our family loved going to watch you wrestle. He was kind of our thing. You know what I mean? Because I was in the baseball world. He was in the wrestling world. So it was always him and I. The sisters, and always go to all different events. But I mean, just like his mom. She was like, hey, you going? This is his wrestling time. And the family would go, my mom and, you know what I'm saying? So when I got to see him, and we'll get more into the resume on his stuff, kind of like what we're talking about. But whenever I seen him win his national championship was one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
It was, I've been to, we've talked about sports and being involved in different stuff.
Yeah.
It was, I felt like I wrestled.
Yeah.
I know nothing about wrestling.
Sweating over there watching.
And listen, here's the deal. I fucking hate wrestling because here's what he would do. He's like, I want you to put your head down. I'm going to try this. You might pass out for a second, but here's the deal. Here's what we're going to hold it. And then I'll hear his mom, leave him alone. He's passed out. Are you breathing, Mo? Yeah, I'm breathing. Yeah. So I was always the wrestling dummy.
You're the wrestling dummy.
It was a dummy.
I was a dummy. So then, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Going into it back, and it's like, it's funny because, looking now and what you've accomplished is unbelievable. And it's like, and like I said, I turned to him a lot, but what's cool about it is of what you become now. You know what I mean? Like with everything going in, give us kind of your resume, like where it started at. I know you might not know it all, but give us kind of like started out from a young, when you won the state championship, when All-American, when all that stuff.
Well, I'll tell you, I've been blessed. I've been blessed because I had a lot of people that put a lot into me to get me to where I was, to do the things that I was able to do and experience. My resume, I have some accolades, but that's probably part of the reason what drove me to wrestling and helped me to get those was, when you're a poor kid and maybe you don't have sign-up fees to go to play tackle football or I can't afford that $100 baseball bat, you're a poor kid, and they say, hey, all you got to do is give him these loaner shoes and pay his $5 entry fee. That's what drove me to my sport. Yep. And
me too.
And so the thing that motivated me was I was always on teams that had a lot of people that were better than me on them, and I'd see in football it was this person getting this conference accolade and this person getting All-State, or in wrestling it was great teammates in Kevin and Kirk Donathan, state placers, state champions, so. Those are things that motivated me, being around such successful and high level people back then and in college, God dang, the list is long on the college thing, who I got to be around. But, from what I have been blessed to be a part of, I never won a state title. You and I were talking before your show started about coaching your kid.
Yeah.
I tried to pump my kid up when he was younger and get him motivated and said, hey, my son won a state title. I never won one.
Yeah.
And he'd always want to argue with me, and I was like, dude, do you not understand how big of a deal this was? You want to freaking Oklahoma 6A state title, bro.
That's huge.
Shit.
That's huge.
Big. And so never won a state title. I won a regional championship, state runner-up, wrestled a dude named Robbie Haddon in the finals. He kicked the living shit out of me. God dang, I'm glad they blew the whistle, or he'd probably still be whipping the shit out of me in Stillwater. So thank God that's over with. Two of my high school matches, I have three matches in high school that I look back on like, thank God that's over with. I wrestled a guy from Mustang at the Perry tournament named Keith Cunningham. His brother Mark Cunningham lives out in Owasso, was an old wrestling coach. But Keith was multiple time bad dude for UCO.
Mean son of a bitch.
Yeah.
The whole family's
dude.
mean.
That dude put the legs on me, put legs in, and I didn't know I couldn't get up. I was like, dude, just would you leave me alone and get off me? So thank God that match was over with because he didn't have the legs in on me. Then I wrestled a guy from Stillwater named Todd Chesbro. You remember what Ivan
Todd
Drago?
Chesbro, did he end up being the head coach at Stillwater?
No, that's his Doug Chesbro, his relative. But Todd was a 4-time Oklahoma State champion. He's an attorney in Tulsa, I think now, or DA or something. But it was involved with Bishop Kelly somehow. But he was a 4-time state champion, just a bad mofo.
Yeah.
And kind of the joke was in high school, was I told my coach, this is my sophomore year, I said, if I make it to, because he would always cut people and take them down. He'd give the old optional start and cut them, take them down. I took all week long.
I'm going to start doing that.
Yeah.
Hey, all week long I told my coach, if I make a second period, I'm taking top and I'm letting his ass go. See how he likes that. I'll
I
show
like
you.
me now.
So he looked, back in the day, he looked just like Ivan Drago from the Rocky movie.
Oh, God.
Yeah, just a mean looking mother. Nice guy. He was a nice guy. But he'd kick your ass. So I made a second period, and I look over the bench, and they're just laughing their ass off. I told my coach, I go, oh, shit. So I said, he goes, all right, go ahead. I let his ass go, and he got up. Chesbro started laughing at me. He was going. Then he just took my ass down, beat the hell out of me. So, yeah, that was one. And
That's great.
then the Haddon one, the Robbie Haddon one. That dude just insanely good. Those are my 3 ass kickings I remember from wrestling.
So you remember now,
Yeah.
then you go
Can't get away from it.
So but anyways, I was a regional champ, state champ, went to wrestling college, thought I was going to do pretty good things when I went to Garden City, beat our defending champ in a ranking match, so I thought I was going to be the guy, and then didn't work out. I was wrestled like 3 different weight classes when someone's out. So
That's in the Jayhawk conference, right? Garden City, is that?
it may have been back then. Yeah, I don't remember.
I went up to Dodge City, is where I played some college
God
ball.
bless you. That's
Garden City, smell of money in that time.
that's what I said. No, that smell is that's the money. So, it was an experience.
That's what my grandpa said when he came to see me. He said he drove in. He's an old farmer, and he was like, "You smell that?" And I was like, "Yeah, it smells like cow shit." And he goes, "No, that's the smell of money." And he just got a big old grin on his face. I was like, "I don't like money like that, I guess."
No kidding.
I'm doing something different.
Find a different
Fuck that shit.
Yeah, and in Garden City, they were like strategically placed on like a triangle, all 3 sides of the triangle in town, and it just always was bad. But yeah, I left there and then went to Oklahoma State. Thought I was going to wrestle there. They were on probation. So I was like, yeah, I'm done wrestling.
Yeah.
So then quit that. I joined a fraternity. And then OSU kindly asked me to take some time off.
Yeah. What'd you
I
join?
remember that.
SIGAP.
Hey, listen, I'm going to tell you what happened. I'm going to kind of fill in this the blank here. So Steve goes, he's like, Mo, what you doing? And I was like, and, I'm younger, right? So I came in, and he's like, well, I'm going to come back in town. And I was like, what are we doing? I was like, aren't you in school? He's like, well, I got kindly asked to take some time off. And I was thinking, I was like, so I'm sitting there thinking, I'm not ready. I'm an athlete, not a mathlete. So I'm sitting there thinking, damn, I'm in school. He should be in school. He's like, never mind, I'm going to meet you there. What are we doing? So then he told me what happened.
Yeah, that's part of the reason they asked me to take time off.
Just take a little vacation.
I was on sabbatical a lot, I guess, or something. But ended up leaving, and long story, got a call from a friend that was going to Missouri Valley to play baseball. He said, hey, they got a wrestling team. And I was like, oh, shit, yeah, let me wrestle. So I was like, jumped in the car, went up. Next thing you know, I'm there wrestling. Ended up there. I was a 2-time All-American. I won the national title in '94 there. Was assistant coach there. We won 2 team titles there as assistant coach. Got my first head coaching gig in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. We were state runner-ups there.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. And then my coaching mentor, Steve Dunlap, got
Shout out to Donnie. I love you, brother. I love you.
That's my mentor.
Even though you're at Union?
Yeah.
Is he still at Union?
He's retired, but he still hangs around over there. So
Black and gold. You believe black and gold, Donnie?
He does. He just don't remember it just yet. But,
he's like 90 anyways. He forgot everything. Shit. No.
Yeah.
Greatest dude ever. Steve Dunlap?
No.
Oh, dude.
He's really the architect that built the foundation Broken Arrow Wrestling.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
He is, man.
Absolutely. My mentor, great. So he hired me at Broken Arrow. I came on BA, got to coach for 2 junior high teams. We were undefeated 2 years in one conference and did all that stuff in junior high wrestling. I coached football too, and then
Fire alarm going off?
And then got moved up to high school, and it was full-time high school, and shit. we won 7 or 9 state titles, and then Dunlap retired. You know, and they always say you don't want to be the guy that follows the man.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit. He's like, no, but your job. You won it. It's yours. And I was
I
like,
remember that.
oh boy. So then
That's a tough one
What
to
I get
follow.
myself into.
yeah. So got the head coaching job, and we won as the head coach. Won a dual state title and state championship there as a head coach, and was on the junior national coaching staff. Won some state titles. Was the head cadet coach for Oklahoma USA Wrestling. We won the first ever cadet dual championship in Colorado.
So what's the cadet mean? Do you know what cadet
It's
means?
age level divisions. It's like now they got like U16s would be considered.
Gotcha.
It was back then. It was called the cadets and
Gotcha.
juniors and schoolboys. But
Gotcha.
so it was blessed. Had a lot of opportunities and had some success. And when you have great athletes, they make you look like really damn good coaches.
You look like
And like what the hell you're talking about, and they make your job easier.
Yeah.
From a winning standpoint, not the coaching aspect of it, but the winning side. But been very blessed with that. Was really involved with some great organizations. And being able to coach at Valley when Coach Makos resurrected that program. We went from not having a program to top 10, top 5, and then 2 national titles, and then he started the first ever women's program in collegiate wrestling history there at Missouri Valley.
Oh wow, really?
Just been blessed to be around some great people, man.
Yeah.
And then
Sounds like it.
with Coach Dunlap at BA, gave me my opportunity.
Yeah.
He's still a friend of mine today, and
Yeah.
I'll probably see him tomorrow when I go to Oklahoma City to watch state wrestling tournament. So
That's cool.
you get out of it, but you're never out of it.
Yeah, because you're still at Broken Arrow, right?
Well, I live in Broken Arrow,
Yeah.
and
We might be neighbors.
maybe
Probably not.
No,
Yeah, I'm not in that neighborhood.
Hey, you remember the accolades we just talked about? No, you ain't
I
there yet,
ain't in
dog.
that
You
neighborhood.
ain't there yet,
I
dog.
made $0 doing all
I'm just
that.
kidding.
So they don't. You win a bunch of them, they don't pay you more. That's the most unfortunate thing about high school coaching, and being involved in the NAIA coaching. You can have a lot of success. You don't make shit for money.
Oh, I know.
So
It's so funny you say that because I know a lot of the guys. Here's the deal, and you can vouch for this. Wrestlers these days, they either end up as coaches or insurance people.
Yeah.
there's a lot of them in it.
That's
Yeah.
what you know what I'm saying?
You're right.
So and that's another thing too, is like growing up and seeing him and just even the people he's coached. I mean, I know a bunch of those cats, but the only thing that bothered me was, when I played baseball, I want to be in the major leagues. Obviously didn't make it there, but the one thing that, when you get to the collegiate level, unless you make it to Olympics, it stops there, right?
Yeah, that's
I mean, it's
it.
just
Olympics is it. That's it. That's the that's end of the road.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's that some coaches do a great job of, and some coaches probably miss the mark there. And I think parents miss the mark on this when they live vicariously through their kids, that not just wrestling but sports in general, it ends at some point.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to coach your kids and talk to your kids about that and it being okay.
Yeah.
That it's going to end sometime, so we got to figure out maybe what Plan B will be when that day it comes. So
Right.
yeah, you're right though. There, from a money standpoint, if you get out of college, you either go into coaching or kind of your competitive days are over. There are a little bit of opportunities. I'm going to try to get in shape maybe, and they have some what they call senior level wrestling. It's age group, like I'd be in the over 50 class.
I got
You can make a world team
Really?
and over 50s in the veterans division.
Didn't know that.
So
Oh,
yeah. So
So you think about it?
well, I
mean, because you're skinny now, dude. Listen, you be in a different weight class now,
I
bro.
would. It's funny you said. I weigh less now today than when I showed up for preseason in '94 when I won the national title.
Isn't that
No
crazy,
way.
dude?
Wow.
Here's what's crazy. So in Mo Valley, they'd always do, and I forgot what they call it. What's that when you get when you go back and you wrestle the freshmen? Or
The
what
alumni duel.
The alumni duel, right?
Yeah.
So I
So they
would
go back and wrestle a freshman?
Yeah. It's real funny. So every homecoming,
That's pretty
Mo
cool.
Valley has probably one of the greatest homecomings from a small school's perspective. they just have a lot going on
It's
with
awesome.
all sports, and all the alumni come back from all. It's really it's an engagement school. You're there. You're probably involved. 99% chance you're involved in some sport or a fine art of drama or something to that effect. But every homecoming they'll have an alumni basketball game.
That's awesome.
Maybe an alumni volleyball game. Maybe an alumni soccer game, and it's all on the same weekend. So, and they time them to where all alumni can go.
Jam-packed.
Yeah. So we had forever the wrestling team has alumni wrestling. So all the alumni come back and they wrestle the freshmen. And so we've had some amazing lineups coming wrestling these freshmen. Yeah. And,
That's
the freshmen are serious as shit about it. I mean, they're like, this guy here is
old guys' ass.
So I've seen it too. So like, and take in mind when Steve came back, he was a lot heavier, right?
Yeah.
What did you win your national championship at? 167?
167.
167. So every time he'd come back, I don't know, we're not going to say the weight, but the thing about it is he'd have a shirt on. These guys have singlets, and they'd be wanting to take him down.
Yeah.
Because obviously, national championship and also a Hall of Fame, Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
So if I'm that dude, I'm beating the shit out of that motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm coming in. I'm trying to take his
And then
ass
these
down.
dudes taking, and it's funny, Coach Marcos, and I went down there one time, and Coach Marcos was watching shit, Mel. He goes, these motherfuckers think they're going to take him down just because he's a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
He's wider now. And all of a sudden, Steve just kind of goes, because he takes it personal when he goes down. He's like, listen, I got to hold my rep, man.
Oh, yeah.
So he goes
Can't
down
let one of
there.
these little boys
So
beat
then-
me.
They want to call you OG. You got to get in there and step up your game a little bit.
So they get done, and then that one kid, I can't remember what it was, he came back, he's like, fuck, that dude is fucking strong. And he goes, he's got little hands, but they're fucking strong. And Marcos goes, I told you, them fucking mitts get a hold of you, they're down. You know what I mean? So,
you don't get Hall of Fame national title just being an average Joe Blow.
I always wondered what grown man strength was until, if I'd have wrestled my dad, I envisioned that's what I made at midnight, maybe. I don't know. But,
listen, it's like that because all the shit that you did on me, it is. And I got bigger hands than you do.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
We ain't throwing a football here.
Technique, baby. It's funny. You talked about the weight. I'll tell you what I weighed. So, God bless Coach Monkles. He had to put up with so much shit from us back then at Valley.
Bobby Lashley was there.
Yeah.
When he coached him.
Bobby Lashley, John White, Jeremy Dirks, Derek Lark. I mean, there's a whole gamut of us that put him through the ringer. But he. So I had this. So I All-Americaned at 177, and I'm like, all right. So I come back like, I'm All-American shit. I'm gonna do whatever I want. So I show up preseason. I tell Coach, I said, you know what? I don't think I'm gonna do preseason wrestling. I think I'm gonna play soccer. He goes, get on the scale. He goes, like hell you are. I weigh 235 pounds.
Hold.
Preseason.
Oh shit! I
On
didn't
the
know that.
scales. He said, your ass is gonna be running, getting down to shape. So I was like, all right. So I was like, I can get to 177 from here easy. So I did Slim Fast and one sandwich a day for dinner and was getting my weight down. So I was wrestling. I got down, it took me probably 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. So starting September, I'm down about, in October, November, 1st of November, I'm getting down about the 80s to where I just got to cut, so.
Dang.
What'd
you say you were on? Let me get this written down.
Slim
Fast and one sandwich a day.
That's it.
Shout out Slim Fast.
Hey, I will be proud to get a check from them.
Come on.
I used to push their product quite a bit. So
That's fine.
it's skim milk and some of that in there. You mix it up. That's it. One shot of it a day.
That's awesome.
I actually did one shake for breakfast, one for lunch, and a sandwich for dinner.
Well,
Dang,
yeah,
that's
and
crazy.
we talk about because we go out, and we do our thing. But when people see cauliflowers, that's their first thing is like they're gonna fight, they're gonna beat shit out of it. And here's the deal: most of the time they will. They're all angry people. I figured that out.
All angry people.
As he's gotten older, he's lighting up.
Yeah.
But listen,
Try to be.
but here's the deal. Listen, remember when we were talking about Ben fighting the bush?
Yeah.
He did the same thing. You know what I mean? I've been there. You know what I mean? So, but the thing about it is, you know, again, when we go out, we see that people don't want to mess them, and or they're just causing havoc, right?
Yeah. Well, I just know not to mess with those guys. I mean, because shit, I don't know how to wrestle. I mean, I can, you know, street fight, but I get my ass dumped real quick. I know when a Big 12 comes to be okay. And I'm in there and I'm like, man, some dumbass is gonna pick the wrong fucking day to mess with people.
Your best behavior.
Yeah. I'm like,
well, I'm gonna tell a brief story. It's kind of fun. It kind of goes into we were out, and I'm not gonna say the bar because it's a little, you know, but we go there, and this is where typically where people pick up the girls at because it's kind of not necessarily it's like a gay bar, right? You know what I mean? So we go there,
is that where you're hanging out?
We get in and out. I mean, it's cool because the girls would go there. Well, we go there, and it's so Steve comes up, and he's like, hey, we have a bunch of wrestlers coming to town. He's come out of the Brook, and he's like, I'll follow along. So we go there. One of our buddies was all over this chick.
And was it an actual gay bar or was it not a gay bar?
We don't know that. I mean, I don't know what it was called.
It's been a little mix.
Yeah, it might have been a mix. We don't really know.
But there's a lot of chicks
he's
there.
gonna know what I'm talking about as soon as I said it. So anyways, because there's a lot of
Well, his face was questioning you there for a second.
I know, but he's gonna know as soon as So anyways, and we might edit this
Lost
out.
me at gay bar.
No, but anyways, he'll know exactly what we're talking about. So, and I'm not gonna say the dude's name, but anyways, we go there, and this person that he's dancing with is a pretty lady, right? So we go in the bathroom. Well, we're peeing, and all of a sudden this pretty lady comes in and stands right next to somebody, and was like, "Hey, just want to let you know that." So we went and asked Steve and all of his buddies. It's like, "Hey, that's not a lady."
Oh.
And do you remember the story?
Yeah.
so anyways,
I cannot confirm or deny.
Cannot confirm.
I'm gonna go with that.
So anyways, so we go. So finally, and then this is how crazy they are. And I was like, I want to tell them because this is our boy.
Yeah.
He's out there.
We need to help him here.
Yeah, he's out there grinding on them and do whatever. So finally, at the end, comes back. Well, we go outside. We finally tell him, well, this man that had a skirt on pulled up the skirt and wanted to fight him outside the bar.
No way.
Remember that? Well, you don't remember. Yeah, so anyway, we're cracking up. We're laughing so hard because of the fact nobody told him. And I'm thinking this is the reason why I'm not friends with any wrestlers. Yeah. Because I want people to tell me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This would be more. They're like, that might be funnier if we just let this one go.
We're just gonna let him go.
Yeah.
Let him go.
So I'm thinking, I'm like, but going again is, you know, the whole mentality of wrestlers is they're crazy, they're fighters. But I know a bunch of people that are crazy about family, and you went over it, and this is what I was getting to. The respect, the attitude, the discipline, you know, everything that you went over is what I've seen him live. And our family's the same way. His mom was, I mean, like I said, God rest her soul, his mom was one of the top-notch person, just like my mom. It was all about discipline with us. You know what I'm saying? That's why we're very, very respectful. Yeah. You know what I mean? You even said it before. Yeah. It's like, man, you know, Mo, you're very respectful. And that's what we had to be. You know what I mean? And to me, is a lot of people don't get that side, right? You know what I mean? There's
100%. You know, I think that's the one thing, one of the many, but one of the big things that wrestling will do is humble you. Yeah. You think you got it all figured out, then you're out there, you get your ass kicked, and you get humbled real quick. Yeah. You know, you could be on an undefeated streak, thinking you're just going to roll things, and you get upset. You know, so it humbles you just like life will humble you. Yeah. And you know, there are so many things. It's the humble part, the dedication, discipline part. You know, the wrestlers. You have to be somewhat crazy to do it. Who wants to not eat? Go have some guy try to kick your ass for 2 or 3 hours a day, then go put on these plastic suits and run to get more weight off. Yeah. You know, not eat very much. Have to go spend your whole damn Saturday. If you've ever been to a wrestling tournament, you're probably saying, I've never heard my kid wrestle ever, because it's the longest marathon on planet Earth, a wrestling tournament. But just doing all those things, like you gotta be a little bit, you know, crazy to do it. But there's a gratification you get from it too. Yeah. From the one-on-one, the winning, and truly the process, the growth process of when you're in wrestling. Like I'll take my son for example. I'll never forget. Both my boys wrestling for me so I got out and got into the insurance arena, and Steve Dunlap called me and said, "Hey, do you want to coach youth wrestling at Union?" It's like, shit, Mike. Yeah, that's why I got a job, so I can go coach my kids. So I got both my boys, my little big-eared little one and my little chunky butt big one, and just cutest. And those are the fondest memories I have. But I'll never forget. First practice at Union, you blow the whistle. You know you're gonna have kids run laps. Yeah. It's just me and Craig Bowman, one of my old college teammates, a good lifelong friend from Valley. He was helping me, and he's on one end, I'm on the other, and my big boy running by, Steven, he's running by and goes, "Dad," and I'm like, "What?" He goes, "I don't want to wrestle."
I don't want to wrestle.
He goes, "I don't want to wrestle." I'm like, "Son, we're like 45 seconds into this, your first day." I go, "Why do you not want to wrestle?" He goes, "Because you get all wet." And I was like, "That's called sweat. Get your ass to running."
You keep running.
So you go from that little dude saying he didn't want to wrestle to watching him in Oklahoma City win a state title.
That's awesome. That's beautiful.
You know, and then watch him win a Tulsa national title for those things, and watch him place at the Ironman tournament, the toughest high school. So those are the things that you get to watch and enjoy.
Yeah.
And from coaching and being a part of wrestling, it's like people don't understand it.
Yeah.
You know? The kid didn't win a lot of matches when he was little, but then end up winning the biggest prize you can win in the sport in your state.
At the highest level, it's 6A, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And then he goes on, and my other son too. I truly think the lessons, because he wrestled, he gave me 2 years and got out of that 2 years. But I think some of those attributes he took over, the hard work and the things, and put those into play. And it's kind of how we ran things around our house with all the wrestling. So it helped him in the sports that he did. So,
well, and you said it too, Big E, was with some of the people in the wrestling industry, like coaches and guys. We were talking about Steve coming on. It's just like it's just such a good community. You know what I'm saying? Like it's everybody. It seems like all the wrestlers are a big circle. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like with the guy you were talking about.
My buddy, and they know each other, and they've got connections beyond wrestling too. And then I'm like, well, my other buddy. I mean, they grew up together. It's his cousin, like big brother, and I'm like, what a small world, and just. Different people, knowing people that have been a completely different past, and just doing this and trying to get some wrestling guys set up, and it turns out they know each other. And now I want to have those guys on so we can talk, because I know they probably have some stories. You've known my buddy Isaac, who we're going to try to have on after all the postseason gets done. But it is, and it's. I know you were saying there's wrestling has some. You got to be a little crazy. There could be some hotheads. And of course there's like that way in any sport. Yeah. But, most of the guys I know, like you said, have a lot of respect, have a lot of discipline. And it's funny, I've seen some of my buddies, been in some fights with them, and they just know what they're doing, And I'd look over, I'm fighting a guy and kind of ducks off, and I look over, my buddy says, "He need help," and he just got this guy in a headlock, just laughing his ass off. Or he's got him on the ground. He's got him like pinned. He's holding him down. And the guy's like, "Let me up." He goes, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "We're fighting." And he's just kind of walking through it, laughing his ass off. Yeah. He's not out of control. He's, he's more having fun because he dances in circles around people that don't. So, I mean, they're just level-headed guys, and they'll tell you the exact same thing. He said, like, it sucks cutting weight, like eating like little amounts of food, not eating on Thanksgiving or whatever, but... Yeah, they're just, they're well-rounded people, and they've got a lot of respect, and they know of course, whenever they overmatch someone,
Yeah.
you know, they're not going to sit there and just beat the ever living shit out
Yeah.
of somebody.
Well, then you
they're
also,
like,
yeah.
they got control and,
Yeah.
and laughing, and it's funny. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
it's,
Probably 99% of people that have wrestled don't go out looking for trouble.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
People want it just because they're like,
well, they'll like back when I was 108 pounds heavier. You know, I'm the fat guy with the cauliflower ear. They always want to test you.
yeah,
You know, they never picked on my Bobby Lashley friend.
yeah.
Or John White, the dude that's 6'2",
Yeah.
you know, they always pick
Yeah.
on the short fat guy with the messed up ear. You know, and
Yeah.
but they don't. But typically, when wrestlers won't go out and go, hey, let's
Yeah,
go,
yeah. Let's
some
go,
shit
let's
tonight,"
go
you
fight
know,
some
it's-
people. Yeah,
Now they will defend their friends. They will defend themselves.
yeah,
And you know, hey, they want to bring the heat.
Yeah.
They'll probably
yeah,
those
Well,
people
yeah.
probably get the heat.
And
yeah.
I told Haley,
Get the heat.
I said, when I was growing up, it was kind of funny because obviously I'm younger than him. And then, well, I always wanted to party with him because I looked
Yeah.
up to him and was like, oh, dude, man, I'm hanging out with my cousin. And I was a skinny dude back then.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I'm pretty skinny, like
still-
chiseled
you
right
still
now,
skinny,
you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
you
But what I'm saying is I'd hang out with him and then, you know, people would like start messing with me. And I was just trying to hang out. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And then they find out, like, oh, you're Steve Allen's cousin? I'm like, that's right, baby.
That's
Come
right.
on, baby.
You want the heat?
Yeah,
You want the heat? You get
yeah,
the heat.
you want to come on? And
Hey,
then,
hey, don't let him fool you. He was the best tag team partner.
come on, baby. Come
Oh,
on.
Stacy Lynn, dude.
Oh, dude.
So my neighbors, Jimmy and Brett.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know, WWE and all that shit was big.
Yeah.
Me and my tag team partner, we'd go over and kick shit out.
Oh,
of them.
dude, I'd come off the.
We'd
I'd
have to
come
go
off the-
home because we'd whip them. We'd have to go home, and I'd have them in the Cobra clutch, and screaming.
I
Those
do all
top
the time,
rope
dude.
yeah.
And they'd be like, and then we hear going back to his mom would come up, and then they all of a sudden they'd be crying, and she'd come in like, who's crying? And it'd be the neighbors and stuff, and they'd be like, hey, listen, the tag team champions
The
got
tag
the
team
old belt,
champions, put it
baby.
on.
Defeated here on
Because the
Toledo
oldest
Street.
brother was his age, and the youngest brother was my age.
Yeah.
So we come up, but no, I mean it's kind of funny though. Like I mean, we talk about it because sports wise.
Yeah.
But you know, knowing Travis, he's obviously we'll talk to him before. He's the head coach of Hall, right?
Yeah.
If you talk to him, he's like an IT nerd. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He's kind of got that kind of weird, like, all right. But then I'm like, I don't want to fuck with him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
no.
He's like,
yeah.
he's gonna put me in a rear naked chokehold,
Yeah.
like
he's gonna,
that.
He's gonna do
You know what
something
I mean?
pretty quick.
Yeah, and then finally, whenever we go to Mo Valley and stuff, we go there, and I'll go there and talking to Bobby and seeing them wrestle, and seeing how basically team oriented it is.
Yeah.
It is crazy because, like, if you go now, I don't know if it's the same. It's been a minute since I've been to a wrestling deal, but man, those guys get so pumped up on the match because it is just one-on-one with them. You know what I mean? It's like now you're dependent on the heavyweight, and I don't even know the points, all that stuff. And we're going to get into that. But, watching that the heavyweight's got to pin them, or the heavyweight's got to get an escape or win
Right.
or something like that.
Yeah.
And seeing those guys jump around and, like, go crazy
Yeah.
is unbelievable because they're dependent on that one dude and or the last three guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. They gotta.
So-
because they gotta depend on them to kind of close.
Yeah, because his points. Like,
Yeah, it's funny you say that too, because I went over and watched the regional finals at Broken Arrow on Saturday, and you talk about the team aspect
Yeah.
of it, and the guys rooting for each other. It was Bixby and Broken Arrow were neck and neck; they were tied, and it was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it comes. And this is a tournament, so you got BA who was down by a couple points. They're 2 15-pounders up. Well, he goes out and he pins the guy. So next thing you know, BA's up by 2 points
Right.
going into the very last match. Well, if the Bixby kid gets beat, their heavyweight's in the finals. If he gets beat, then BA wins.
So when you say, I'm sorry, Red. So when you say pin them, how many points do they
So in
get?
the tournament,
You automatically win, right? You win that.
So when in the tournament format, so they've already got their placement points. So if they get first place, they get 4 points.
Okay.
And if any bonus points, it adds to that number. So he
Okay.
got 6 points added. So I'd like put B up by like 4 points.
Okay.
So if the Bixby kid won, I think we tied in our heavyweight or something. But to the point you're making though, their Bixby kids were down there cheering their heavyweight on, and it was back and forth, and then our heavyweights over here going for third and fourth.
Yeah.
So the Bixby kid he was about to get pinned, ran out of time. Dude, I mean, guts. The kid just fought his guts out. Came back and pinned the kid. So the Bixby kid pinned the kid.
Wow.
Exciting stuff, man. The kid showed a lot of guts, man, and just shows the credit to our coach staff and that kid getting just because the kid could have laid on his back and got pinned very easily.
Yeah.
And then also, so our heavyweight's over here. So now our heavyweight has to pin his guy. In
The pressure.
Quarter.
Yeah. I mean?
Yeah, and so I look down there, and the whole daggum mat's filled up with the BA kids, and they're cheering this kid on.
Yeah.
Well, so at state, however your placement finishes is how you get seeded in the state tournament. So if I'm third seed, I might be on a different side, guys bracket, and typically 4 seed you don't want to be because you got to wrestle the number one at one side.
So it's just like kind of baseball. So like if you're the last seed, you do the first, it gets the first seed, third. Yeah, I got you.
So our kid was winning the match pretty good. Well, I say good. He's winning like 3 points. Well, he knows that he's got to pin the kid, so he tries to pin the guy in the move.
Yeah.
Ends up costing him, gets reversed, and gives up back points and loses the match. So it puts him automatically to the 4 seed.
Gotcha.
So now he's going to do the wrestling match to get in. But he would have got third.
Yeah.
If he just would have coached won, and then the team won would have lost by 2 or whatever.
Yeah, instead of losing by a few more and get him to 4 seed.
So he was just trying to get the win for the team.
Yeah.
Sacrificing his seed, which was cool. It says a lot about the kid and the team.
Yeah.
Was trying to win the
He was trying to win it. He wasn't trying to coast,
Yeah.
which ended up, just biting you. But at the same time, it could end up pole vaulting you to the.
And I also seen where and I've seen it with our cousin is, they pushed him to, like, okay, now the heavyweight got hurt or whatever, and he's like right under, so they pushed him to the heavyweight.
Yeah.
Just to try to, it's just like as coaches, and I've coached baseball, high school baseball. It's at a coaching level that you've been at too. Being at where you were at as a wrestler, is that where you go into that mentality as a coach saying, listen, we got to be the best? Or is that something that we kind of, knowing, I mean, obviously Broken Arrow has amazing wrestlers, but it's like anything else. You got to have rebuilding years. You got to have, like people get hurt or something like that. Did you go into that mentality like as a coach where it's like, listen, now I have to hold a legacy is what Dunlap came through. Was that so much pressure where you just like felt it coming in as a coach, or do you just like go into it saying, listen, all right, this is what we're going to do. This is where we're at. We're kind of rebuild and start from there.
Well, I tell you, thank God I didn't get that head coach job my second year in coaching, because I come out, you're a little bit stubborn, as a young coach.
Yeah.
I'm bought into everything we're doing, and we're just going to be tougher than the next guy.
Yeah.
Well, that's a little bit. You want that, but that's not what the head coach should do. So, from when I took over, I was nervous. I knew we had a good team, but I had to, and I think right now Broken Arrow, the staff has done an amazing job of, you don't have this for and you might have some in baseball, but you don't have it to where I got to put this guy here to maybe score us the most points.
Yeah.
But, you got to put your best quarterback, your best running back, your best center out there in basketball. I mean, so my 215 pounder might score us more points at state than our heavyweight, and we'll put him at 250 and put our backup in, and he might go score points. So there's some of that strategery going on. I had to learn that, and for me, when I took over, I knew we had a good team. I always felt with the group of guys I had at that point, we've got to do something different that no one else is doing, to where if these guys buy in, this mental aspect is going to take them over the top.
Yeah.
And so I sat down and I appreciate Coach Dunlap because he always stayed in communication with me, and I'd always run things by him and see what he thought. And, you know, hey, if that's dumb, tell me, you know. And
Yeah.
so I came up with this thing, listen, because notoriously in wrestling, weightlifting for the long until now, but you didn't lift weights a lot all throughout the season. You lift them early, and you got into the season, you just kind of backed off the weights and focused more on the wrestling. Yeah. And by the time the dual state regional states rolled around, you probably weren't at your peak strength.
Right.
And so I just said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do 6 a.m. lifts for the last 8 weeks of the season. Every morning we're going for an hour and a half, and we're going to lift. And we're going to do mental toughness drills and lift weights. And I'm as the head coach, I'm going to be there every morning at 6 a.m. when they show up. And I'm going to greet them, and we're in this together.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And Dunlap still believes to this day, he tells me, he goes, that's what helped you guys win. We won that state tournament by half point.
Oh, shit.
Oh, man. So everything mattered. Every
point mattered.
Every weight, every bit of strength.
You know, a guy not getting pinned when maybe he had gotten pinned before. I mean, we had guys that had beaten guys that they hadn't beaten before at state tournament, at dual state and regionals. And so, you know, we were just had that mindset that, you know, these guys didn't get – everyone were wrestling this weekend to get up at 6 a.m. for 8 weeks.
Yeah. Well, and I think that was the turning point, honestly, for Steven. Whenever I seen him get beat, and then he become – I don't know if it's you or something he did, where he became on that weightlifting program.
Yeah.
And he got jacked.
He did.
He got – I mean, dude. And he knew it from the weight class that he got soft, because I don't even know – you know, the weight class is part of it, but you could just look at him. He was having the kind of the growth baby fat still. You know what I mean? He's a bigger kid.
Yeah.
He kind of had, you know, he's kind of have our broad shoulders and stuff, but not like he got soft. But he went from a kid that took everybody down to getting his ass whooped, and then he's like, I need to change something.
Yeah.
And then he all of a sudden, I mean, he got on that weightlifting. He's doing all that stuff, and he had like. I think he had Broken Arrow's like biggest squat.
He said he had the squat or deadlift record for the state.
Really?
It was like a quarter of a pound off of the national record for his weight class.
Yeah, wow. And then so finally, but you could see that in his wrestling because he'd get in that singlet. And dude, I was like, holy shit, look at this motherfucker now. You know what I mean? It's like, now it's like, you know, I'm not saying, I mean, and I was going to get into that with the collegiate wrestling, right? Yeah. Like that, the one kid from, is it Nebraska, the polar bear that was undefeated football guy, was he?
You talking about Brock Lesnar?
No, not Brock Lesnar. He's a recent guy. I don't maybe.
Oh, you're talking about what's his name? Bo
Nickal. No, anyways, but this guy,
Kel Sanderson.
He's been undefeated, anyways. But Bo Nickal's unbelievable too. He's getting into the MMA stuff
He's
too.
in the UFC, I think.
And that's what a lot of people do, right?
Yep,
I mean, that's kind of like the thing now.
They do.
Because you see a lot of those guys on Hill. We talked about this before, baby, where it's like, look at all these cats now. Almost, what is it? Almost, we were talking about it. Almost everybody has cauliflower.
Yeah.
You know, and I most of them have wrestling
background. Yeah.
Well, the best ones do. You know, the weightlifting's huge. Steven, it's funny because Steven was like 150 something, and he got into the weight program. And hey, I'll take one of these. It's in the fridge, if you don't mind, sweetie. Your fridge. Yeah, thank you.
Haley,
hey,
can I get
beautiful.
all these?
Just bring like 4 of them in there, would you please?
It's our producer. She's fantastic.
Just want to have a shout out
Wouldn't
to
be
Haley.
anything that it is without Haley.
Yeah. She has a beautiful smile on her.
Vanna White ain't got nothing on her.
Not at all.
No, that's
just like 4 or 5. Yeah.
So he got on that weightlifting program. He'd go over there 3 days a week. So he went from like 157. Next thing you know, boom, he's up in the 70s and 80s.
Jeez.
So he wrestled.
Jacked.
Well, the coach nicknamed him Moose.
Yeah.
He had these big old legs, and he was harder than hell to take down. He was great on his feet, and just it changed his game, you know. And fortunately, Broken Arrow has weightlifting coaches, but it's just so difficult that it's hard. They don't focus on it as much as I think, and it's just different philosophies. I think it's important. Some coaches do, but now they have the ability with these strength and conditioning coaches to implement that year round, which wasn't what was had the ability to do before. But strength and that powerlifting and lifting is huge, and then like now with wrestling and MMA, some of these best MMA guys are Bo Nickel, I think, one of the hottest ones coming up right now. I think so. He's just a bad dude. Khabib, he's from what's it called, Dagestan or whatever.
Yeah.
Dude, I just got a video from a friend out in California talking about Cormier sending his kids over to train with Khabib for a month or 2 months.
It's crazy.
I said it's unbelievable. That that Dagestan part of the world has got some of the best wrestlers ever to grace the mats. Plus, I mean, those two Russians are with him is some of the best MMA fighters ever.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
John Jones has a wrestling background.
Yeah.
Cormier had a wrestling background. Brock Lesnar was at Minnesota. The list goes on and on.
Right.
Well, Johnny Hendricks, who beat the shit out of St. Pierre. Who got screwed.
Was that the one where St. Pierre looked like he got beat up by a bunch of buses? Looked like, and then they were like, "You won," and the other guy didn't have a scratch on him.
Yeah.
I remember that. He's in the
Johnny
hospital
looked like
bed.
he came out for a GQ photo shoot.
Yeah, he looked like he didn't even fight that night. I was like, "Dang, somebody got screwed here."
That's funny.
Yeah, that's
so funny to say that. Well, Trevin, Haley's brother, when we're talking about this too, is he's real big into the fights, and us watching those cats. It's just like, and it's not about the wrestling, but it's so good to have because they're going, some of those guys are better on the ground and they're doing the jiu-jitsu and the grappling and all that.
You just add something else to your repertoire.
And it's like the Bo Nickel. You look at him, if I, outside of his cauliflower or whatever, if I walk by him, I'm beating the shit out of him. But then I'm looking at him like, never mind, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's just the skills that you have to do, and then it's just crazy. The Khabib, like you look at him, whenever he faced Conor, he's a little outside of his ears.
And then boom, he's wrestling bears.
It's insane. I think the NCAA misses a great opportunity right now with sports like wrestling. To me, with now the NIL money.
Yeah,
which blows my mind.
Same.
So that's a good question. So is that wrestling too, or all?
Oh, it's all sports.
I didn't know that.
They have these collectives, and they can do them for any sport.
Yeah, well, D1 or any division. It's every sport. I think at the college level.
You can do them in high school now.
Can you do high school NIL?
You can. You just cannot wear a uniform of that particular school in high school.
Wow.
But
that's crazy.
I know.
That's insane.
So let's say
I'm still waiting on my NIL check from Valley.
We need to start get some lawsuits fired up.
Coach Marcos.
Well,
maybe Bobby will bring it to you.
Yeah, that shit. Hold your breath. He ain't gonna bring nothing.
But that's funny you say that because him and I were talking about this too, is where you go back to that money where it's they're paying people in high school. Like I saw a deal on TikTok too, where it's a Florida. He's a freshman at Florida, and he's buying his mom a house.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
You see that?
Yeah, I'm like, man.
And I'm like, wait a minute.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, so on your perspective, and this is what I want to know, being a coach, being a wrestler, being up higher on the education side too as well, is do you like that, or is that something that is taking away the kind of the if I'm an athletic dude, I'm like, listen, I'm going for the money, or if I'm going for just a...
it's almost taking away the spirit of the sport.
Yeah.
Too.
So
the intent of what you...
just kind of like...
somewhere, commit, build, don't just...
Yeah.
I don't know, I'll let you answer, but to me, I just see a lot of kids giving up because they're not getting what they want. I'm not getting as much money as I want. I'm going to transfer.
I agree.
I think that's chicken shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they should stay there and you grind it out. And if you're not getting what you want, well, go work your ass off, play a little better. Don't just give up and go to Alabama State, and then they'll give you what you want.
I think it's good for the NIL money because I will say, especially at the Division I level. I mean, all levels. I mean, if you're a committed athlete and you want to be the very best, it's almost a full-time job, just like going to school is. So you don't have. I don't have time to go work at the convenience store, train at the level I want to train at, and then go to school and be the very best. It just doesn't happen that way. So I'm okay with it. I think you need to have some structure to it. Yeah. I mean, it's you can get to a point of the have and have nots. My kind of I don't know if it's a beef, but it's kind of like, I think it's kind of bullshit is, and maybe I'm just envious, but, I know what I got paid as a head coach, and I see these coaches making,
for sure.
$12 million. And a coach that can go and recruit a kid and get him all geeked up on coming to that school and sign him, and then that coach can leave, but I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I came with the intent of playing for that coach because of, he's going to help me get to the MMA as a wrestler. He's going to help me get to the NBA or the NFL because of whatever reason.
Yeah.
So I think that part is a little bit of bullshit of trying to hinder the kids to move. I think they maybe should have a cap or, with the NIL money. I mean, I think we do miss the boat on, kids got to get degrees. Yeah. Like when I talked about when it ends at some point, if these kids don't have a degree, whenever they leave that institution, because there's a high probability that 98% of them aren't going to the next level.
Right.
Yeah.
So that 98%, what are we doing to prepare them for life?
Right.
And maybe the NIL money is where they're socking it up for life, but I think we're robbing from them that education that they need to help them succeed in life. Hell, manage their money, make sure they don't have any tax issues, all these things. So I think if there's some way, if you're going to give these kids NIL money and they leave, they pay back. There's a financial penalty. Pay back that institution what the cost of college was.
I like that.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
You're free to leave. Just pay us back what that expense was that we would have incurred, and go take whatever money you want, go wherever else. Right. But I think if you're going to accept NIL money, you got to accept the fact unless you're drafted, you commit to that. Institution you go and finish your degree at.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like a major league contract with any sport. You sign that contract, you're going to be here.
Yeah.
Even if something happens, you sign that contract. You're making this NIL money from, some car dealership or something here, and they're going to pay you over this. That's where you're getting your money. If not, return, like you said, return some of it. I mean, that's
so. The scholarship is for the institution, right? But a lot of that institution scholarship money comes either through what they get from the NCAA or whatever the other revenue streams are. So the scholarship should be more focused on, instead of the institution, the degree. Get a degree. So listen, we got it. You're going to get this much scholarship money come to Alabama.
Right.
But this is built around you getting a degree. Rather, you leave Alabama and go to Tennessee.
Yeah.
Fine, but if you don't finish, you're paying it back.
Yeah.
And you do finish, then we're all square.
Yeah. Well, that's something that I don't understand.
Or if you leave in the interim, you pay that institution back what their costs would have been associated with you. Especially if you're a kid that they touted you to be the next starting quarterback, and then you go leave and go to Oregon or whatever because they paid you $2 million versus $1 million you were getting.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing too. Is like I'm a coach, right? So I'm recruiting you to come play baseball for me.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden you come on, you make all this money, and then you leave to go to OU or OSU or whatever, And to me, it's like, and maybe they do. Maybe I still know the whole thing about this, but to me, I feel like the coach should have a little kickback and or the school, right? Where it's kind of like what you said, where the institution comes back. Because, I did everything to get you here. And then all of a sudden you're leaving me because that's what the thing. And not shaming Colorado. I mean, look at Deion Sanders.
Yeah.
He's changing the whole dynamic of Colorado football.
Yeah. Yeah, changing the whole thing. I mean, and another NIL thing that was interesting was, which I don't know 100%. I'm assuming it was for NIL money. But who's the quarterback for Oklahoma State? Was it Sanders?
Sanders that went to
And he went to Ole Miss,
It was backup.
and he was a third string quarterback. Transferred, had some Oklahoma State passing records, was going to be their number one starter. Transferred to Ole Miss to be their third string quarterback.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's got to be some NIL money. And there's got to be, I don't know, obviously, everything going on in the background, if there was any problems he had with the school or he just had some girlfriend. Women make us do crazy things. But, I mean, stuff like that. I just think overall they just opened Pandora's box with all that. And I think there needs to be some structure, just like other sports where there's a salary cap, where it's like, hey, these kids your school can only earn for every year, $100 million in NIL money. And then once you cap that, they can't accept any more NIL money. Yeah. So the school, then it becomes more like a program, like a major league program. But the school of Alabama, if you want to give NIL money, you can say, I want it for this recruiter, this player, but you give that to, Oklahoma. Right. And then Oklahoma they met their $100 million cap, and they can give the players whatever money they see fit to drag in a guy for, hey, we'll give you $2 million NIL money a year if you want to come play starting quarterback. Yeah. And then you run out. Obviously, then it becomes more like a professional sports team, but there's got to be some kind of structure, like you said, because without it's the wild, wild west right now.
The genie's not going back in the bottle.
They just got to have some kind of way to make the genie fit in certain constructs where it's not so crazy.
Stay in the room. Shit. But the thing is, I think there's probably, I know there's a lot more than what I even know about any of this, but
same.
I think some of the issues would be, I don't ever want to cap a kid for making as much money as he can.
Yeah, that's the thing too, because some kid could have been dirt poor and then he could get $10 million a year in NIL.
Yeah.
So then if you did the thing like I was talking about, well, who the hell is Alabama or Oklahoma to say he should only get $2 million?
Yeah, I want the kids to make as much money as they can, because I think part of the reason why it may be on the cap side would be a difficult task, because these major league teams are unionized.
Yeah.
College sports is not unionized yet.
Yeah.
And they've had that argument and those court cases about are they employees or not employees?
Yeah.
I firmly believe they are. They tell them what time to be at work. They tell them what time they're getting off of work. Yeah. They provide them with all the tools to perform their jobs.
Yeah.
So
when you say
gotta wear a uniform.
Yeah. So when you
goddamn name tag on the bag.
When you say unionized, so like I know a little about it. So like what is that to you? Like that's when you say that, some people maybe not know that, especially like in the work, like the collegiate level. It is like a union.
Yeah, well they have like the players rep. They tell them you can't have this many contact days in a work week in football.
Yeah.
You can only have this many practice days. You can't do these days off season. So it's all structured. Yeah. All college has is just some NCAA rules, but but there's a whole lot of different things to where the union represents you to go get the best deal out of the organization.
Right.
Yeah. That's not happening now. They just got rules, and these kids trying to play among or within them from the NIL side. I think it's a win for college athletics if they tie this into getting degrees for kids.
Yeah.
You bring a Steve Allen out of Broken Arrow from a single parent home, and give him this NIL money and let him shop around, and he has one All-American year, and then he's going to wherever to get the most money. But then at the end of the day, he didn't have a college degree.
Yeah. Right.
That's a disservice to a Steve Allen coming out from a poor family.
Because then
there's a lot of those out there.
Yeah.
No, they're not.
And then it's too something nobody really talks about with that, transferring schools and NIL money, which most of the time it would. But do your like you said, graduating, do your credits even transfer? Do all of them transfer? Are you going to have to retake 15 hours because these won't transfer? That's a huge thing with, which I know you know all about too, going from Garden City to Missouri Valley. Yep. And I went from Dodge City to Northeastern State. It's like, you don't just transfer and you're good to go and you just plug into the courses. Yeah. You got to go to the admin building, make sure your credits transfer. Yep. If not, why the hell not? Yeah. So you're telling me I got to take, Algebra 1 again? I hate math.
Then you get into you got to have this many credit hours to be eligible, and those didn't pass. So next thing you know, shit, I got to take summer school. I got to take intercession. I got to do.
I got to add more hours. I can't just take 15. Now I got to take 22. I got to take 19. I got to take,
Then your scholarship only allows for X amount of hours.
Yep.
Then what?
Yeah.
So
Then
you're paying out of pocket.
That's a whole,
Well, it's like,
blender.
to me is, being in the baseball industry, it's like, and I don't know, Haley and I talked about this. It's like a business now.
Yeah.
Right? And then I have these coaches come up to me, and I don't know if it's in the same wrestling deal, but I'm going to ask you, is like, I have this coach come up to me, is like, listen, we're looking after this kid. He's a high school coach, and this kid's in the 5th grade.
Yeah, which is
and
crazy.
I'm like, this is, but you see a lot of this on the social media, right? You see these guys where it's like, look at this kid. I'm like, the kid might be 12 years old and hate baseball. Yeah. Or football. Or, you know what I mean?
He could hit a growth spurt and want to play basketball because now he's 6'7".
But it's crazy where they're like, we're already signing this guy in the 7th grade. And I'm like, do you get a lot of that in wrestling or no?
The only thing I see is, the coach will always keep an eye on those kids in youth that are having success and maybe get them up for some sessions. But I've seen it in my time where you got these, the biggest tournament, probably youth tournament, is a thing called Tulsa Nationals. And I've seen multiple guys that have came through there and won multiple national titles as youth kids. And you see them in high school, and it's like, they did okay. You never see them in the college. So, that whole banking on that little, it's false prophecy stuff.
And it's crazy to me. I mean,
it's not such even a thing.
It's so crazy to me because we go back and it's like you were saying, earning it, going back to understand that. Listen, like we were poor, we didn't have lessons. We were like, hey, listen.
Lessons were get out and ride your bike. Don't come home until dark.
Yeah.
That's a lesson.
And that was the deal. It's like, and I try to explain to people, like, listen, our parents did whatever we did to make it, and it was like we had to figure it out.
Right.
And then I figured it out. I wanted to eat on Thanksgiving, and he figured out he wanted to play baseball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I played baseball one practice.
One practice.
He tried to wrestle. He tried to beat up everybody.
I never forget. My old high school friend of mine named Chris Lewis. His dad was our coach. We were out in Broken Arrow. They said, "Oh yeah, you probably play catcher." Shit, I'll play wherever you want, coach.
Yeah, put me in, coach.
So I'm back there at catcher. One ball goes in the dirt, hits me right in the nuts. I threw that glove down. I was like, I ain't playing baseball anymore.
I'm done with this.
I'm done. No, they said, didn't you wear your cup? I'm like, no one told me anybody cups or anything like that.
Nut cup.
I'm out. I'm not doing it. I will play soccer, football, and wrestling.
And wrestlers don't wear nut cups.
No.
I mean, I've seen.
I wanted that too.
Because
unless you're wrestling, I have a buddy of mine, Bobby Lashley, that wrestles kid from Dana. Bobby got beat by him. Dude had a nut cup on. That was the biggest joke. You got beat by a dude with a nut cup.
I can't wait to bring it to him.
That's the first thing when we have him on.
100%.
So you got beat by a kid with a nut cup.
Oh, nut cup. They write that down. Nut cup. So we remember it.
Yeah. And I was about to ask this too, because in my head I'm thinking, wrestlers are, I mean, some people might say football, but I definitely think wrestling is the most physical sport out of any high school or college sport. Oh. I mean, you're 100%. I mean, some people might argue football, but then I'm thinking, well, why the hell don't more wrestlers play football, like dual sport? Because out of anyone that's going to be on that football team, they're in that best conditioning strength to grapple with another man, another kid his age, and just grapple with him for minutes.
Yeah.
And on the line or offensive line or defensive line or linebacker, it's seconds. You play maybe last, depending on the play, 3 to 15 seconds if it's a bomb. And I'm like, so I was going to talk to you.
Well, that's a great topic that I like to talk about. If you talk to some very profound coaches and some very successful football people, John Madden, all he wanted to do was draft football players.
Yeah.
Bob Stoops, when he was recruiting kids, if all things were equal and the kid that one of them wrestled, he was taking the wrestler.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
When he's from
Stoops, Iowa guy.
So that's
I forget about that.
Wrestling in the blood up there.
So, but I tell you,
love that sound.
That's probably my pet peeve, because when I was coaching high school, you know, football coaches, and I have a lot of good friends that are football coaches. And I get why maybe they are how they are, but I don't agree with how some of them are, because in most school districts, the head football coach is the second most important job in the school district. Your superintendent's number one,
Yep.
and your head football coach is number two. Because are they winning on Friday nights?
Yep.
So they got that pressure of winning with. In Broken Arrow, it's 10,000 people showing up for a football game. You know,
I would hate that job.
no,
Yeah.
it's a lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure.
Especially at Broken Arrow.
But you know, and they've been notorious for these kids being one sport. I know when I was coaching, they were very notorious for them to being in one sport.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a story right now. I had two kids, a guy named Ben Lake, John Frazier, 9th grade football players, badasses, wrestled for me. It was when I was coaching junior high. The dudes were tough. John Frazier was amazing, and Ben was just tough and mean. One was a defensive end, was John. At that time, he's probably 5'7". He wasn't real tall. It's like, bro, unless you go on a 1 foot growth spurt, you're not playing U1 football.
Yeah.
And you only got three more years to do it.
Yeah. Run out
You ain't
time.
growing that fast.
And I've seen your mom and dad, and they're wonderful people, but I don't know if you're going to get there.
Be 6'6".
So, and Ben Lake was just tougher than hell. Well, I'm having practice one time in junior high, and Donnie was here. He'd tell you, because I called him on the phone, that he was the head coach up at the high school. So we coached at South, which is what at that time was now our freshman academy, and high school practice at the high school. I'm having junior high practice, and one of the football assistants came in there and said, "Hey, coach, you mind if I talk to John and Ben?" I was like, "No." So we're taking a break anyway. So they go in our little weight room, locker room area. I come out, and I kind of hear them going, "Hey, if you guys want to start next year, you're going to need to be at off-season football right now." I said, "Whoop."
Time out from the game.
He's at my practice.
Oh,
He came up to your
He
practice.
was in my practice. And so I said, "Time out. Get yourselves back in the room, boys." I said, "You get your ass out of my locker room. If you come back down here again, I'm going to kick it."
Yeah.
See, remember when I talked about wrestlers?
That's
being
right.
men?
That's what.
He
And
goes, "What? You threatening me?" I said, "No." I said, "No, I'm not." I said, "I'm just telling you, if you come in my practice room, you try to recruit my kids to not wrestle anymore and go play football while we're in season,
That's horseshit.
I'm going to whoop your ass right here."
yeah. I ain't threatening you.
And so he goes, "You
Doesn't
can't."
sound like a threat at all.
He goes, "You can't do that." So I said, "Let's just hold on." So I get on the phone. I call the high school. I said, "Dunlap, I got this football coach down here. I'm getting ready to whoop his ass." Whoa. So you know what I'm talking about, being young and hot-headed coach?
Yeah.
I was all in on Broken Arrow, dude, and wrestling, and I love football. I coached 9th grade football. And he goes, "What's going on?" I said, "Well, he calls John and Ben out and tries to get them to quit wrestling right now and go to off-season football." He goes, "What?"
Yeah.
He goes, I said, "What'd you tell him?" I said, "I told him I was going to whoop his ass." He goes, "Well, don't do that yet. Don't do that yet." He goes, "Just tell him to leave, and we'll address this." I said, "All right, I told him to leave." He goes, "And so then the head coach come down and talked to Dunlap, and then tried to talk to me. I said, "You only talked to me?" I was pissed. I was like, "You know what? I'm for all things Broken Arrow, and us winning everything. But if you want to play that game,
Yeah, that's horseshit.
we're going undefeated every year. I'll show up to your practice and go, who wants a state championship ring? Come out for wrestling. You're going to get one.
You're gonna get one.
Otherwise, why don't we help each other?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get your guys in the best off-season program.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll make these guys mentally tough, and we'll help you get some tough dudes out for your wrestling,
you're gonna
for your
have-
football team."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why?
You're gonna have a hell of a
that was
line.
They
that was
treat them like property. They're thinking, for some reason, they think, it's my opinion, so football ends right before, or if you're in the playoff, a championship game, it's going through Thanksgiving, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So then you got Thanksgiving break, then you got a week or two, then you got Christmas break, which goes into January, right? So they really don't even start doing anything organized till after Christmas, till the middle of January.
Yeah, mid-January.
So, well, guess what? 3 more weeks, wrestling's over.
Yeah.
So if they wrestle for the 4 months of wrestling, they miss jack nothing
Yeah.
football practice.
And then,
But what are they doing? Then they're every day. They're being held accountable to make grades.
Yeah.
They're coming in. They're wrestling. They're working out mano a mano with someone every single day. Every day.
Yeah.
They're being challenged every
Yeah.
day, and they're being coached every day. They're being taught life skills every day, and they're getting balance, coordination,
Right.
all those things they need for football.
Yeah.
And you know what? And some of those linemen are losing a little bit of weight that they probably could afford to lose.
Yep.
That's true.
Making them more agile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's like with you, E. I mean, you play football. I mean, how you Booker T. Washington stuff. How many athletes did you see that were wrestling? Well, they didn't have a program.
Yeah, they didn't have a program, but
but the thing about it is, what sucks about it is I can't think of a lot of athletes that are wrestlers that play football.
Well, funny story.
You know what I mean?
You guys,
I can't either.
You guys may not know this. BA won the state football title. Was it 5 years ago, 6 years ago?
Yeah, was it like 2020 or 2019 or something like that?
Something like that.
That was with the
Cortez.
Yeah.
So their starting football team, the starting team out of the 22 guys, had like 8 or 9 guys that were starting wrestlers.
Really?
I didn't know that.
There seems to be a correlation.
So both outside linebackers were state champions. Cortez was state placer. They had an interior lineman on defense. They had 2 defensive backs. So like 7, 8 guys that were on that state championship football team had been wrestlers.
Right.
And
Yeah,
So
to me it just makes sense. I mean, and I've never wrestled, but I've seen the wrestling guys, and I know them like outside looking in the mentality of it, and I'm like, why would you not want that in every one of your football players? Like, yeah, you're blocking, you're tackling guys. I guarantee you, if you go wrestle a guy, wrestle a bunch of dudes that you're trying to whoop their ass, so they're gonna whoop. It's 1-on-1. When you're open field, you're 1-on-1. And whenever you're blocking guys, you're using hip tosses,
leverages.
Yeah. It's in. I'm like, I mean,
hands.
Yes.
Hands. Your feet.
Listen,
leverage.
All of it.
Your hips.
All of it. It just makes sense.
It does, dude.
It adds up.
It does.
It adds up to me.
If you could get football coaches to trust the process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't start at high school level.
Yeah.
You should have those kids, if they're not involved in a winter sport, if they're a junior high football player that you in, say, 7th grade, and you want them, are going to play on your school's 8th grade team, you should have them, if they're not in basketball, they need to be in wrestling.
Yeah.
Every one of them.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, and Steve Dunlap taught me this, it's like, sometimes it's good to have a break from your number one sport.
Right.
To get away from those coaches,
Yeah.
get away from that sport, go be around something different, a different group of guys. It's good to have that break. And then you put them into what wrestling offers. And what's fortunate at Broken Arrow is you have 2 stellar programs that they're a part of with great coaching staffs, with great schedules. Think about junior high. What other sport? I don't know one in junior high. Maybe there are some. I don't know. But football doesn't do this. I don't think basketball does it. But those kids travel to weekend tournaments and spend the weekends together.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
they wait. It just that team bonding and friendships you build by traveling together and spending the night in the hotels and being ornery together out when you're doing those things.
Yeah.
And those are the things that help build
Totally
your program.
agree. Totally
and,
agree.
And it's not that I don't ever think a kid that if say you made the kids come out in 7th grade that were going to be 8th graders, I don't think you ever say, oh, you know what? You're going to stay in wrestling ever.
Yeah.
You say, no, this is the process. You're going to be a football player and you're going to be a great wrestler as well.
Yeah.
You can do both. You can do both. Look at Marcus Selly. Look at Gavin Potter. I mean, Marcus Selly's 4-time state champ, went to TCU to play football. Now he's at TU. Gavin Potter's 2-time state champ, went to KU, started as a freshman. Now he's going to be at TU. I mean, you can do both and have success at a high level.
Yeah.
And
that's cool. Well, I mean, especially we were talking too. Whenever you go from the wrestling aspect of it, where you're talking about we're getting prepped, we're getting to all this where you're going at a youth, right? We're going at 9th grade, 8th grade, all that stuff, getting prepared for it. Mm-hmm. Well, the biggest thing in baseball, it's a little bit different. right? You start at a young age. You want to get on. Now everybody wants to go on these multiple teams, right?
Travel.
So my thing about it is
on job now if you want your kid to play travel baseball or soccer.
Yeah. But my thing about it is on the wrestling part of it, you can't really do that, right? I mean, it's like you kind of have, or is that kind of? I don't know if they have club teams or if they have.
So at Broken Arrow, they're fortunate. They have Broken Arrow Wrestling Club, which is they have the youth club, and then also soon as the season, so they'll have their young kids to 6th grade. Sometimes they'll have some 7th graders because I think 6th graders are allowed to practice with the junior high team. So really up to 5th grade, you can go to what used to be the old term Little League, but you could do the youth. And then when the season's over, they have freestyle, which is the off season, and it's still the wrestling club. So you can do that, and then they go to tournaments and all that. So you don't have to travel to get on a travel team. You can go with your club team, what's associated with your school.
Okay,
which is really nice. And
that's super cool. Did you know that?
And then you can like some of these kids. Like say we have the 8, so I'm going to use the term schoolboy, which is youth. Schoolboy could be middle school, then cadets and juniors. Well, they have national dual teams for each of those for the state of Oklahoma, and then they have the national championship for each of those. So you may have some BA coaches that are on those coaching staffs on the boys and girls side. So your kids could be making those teams and wrestling those national tournaments.
Yeah, that's cool.
So you've got that ability to do that versus get on a travel team and take them to Ohio or Florida, wherever you go play at. So it's a little bit different.
Yeah,
it's if they do it right, it can be a really good system if you do it right.
One thing I heard is he said this multiple times to me, which is like crazy to me, is if he had to do it all over again, he'd put a lot of his wrestlers in gymnastics.
Oh, without a doubt.
Really?
Without a doubt.
And it's crazy to me. I mean, I understand it now, obviously, like being around wrestling my whole life, but I would have never thought it'd been like, the flexibility.
Right.
And I don't know much about gymnastics.
I wouldn't even think about it, yeah.
But he goes, dude, I would go back and I would send everybody to my gymnastics team.
Yeah.
There's no question. I was going to look to see what this guy Rocky. Yeah. So that he sent me the video when Cormier sent his kids to Dagestan to train for 2 months. Usually in wrestling, you do your pre-practice warm-up. Well, usually it's some stretching, some rolls. Well, in Dagestan, they do like 30 to 45 minutes of just pure gymnastics.
Really?
As part of their warm-up process.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Gymnastics is amazing for balance and coordination.
Core, I bet they're in their core.
Yeah, that's why when Broken Arrow Girls started wrestling, a lot of them were cheerleaders that were coming and having great success because they were in gymnastics.
Yeah, right.
They had good balance, good core strength, and just from that pure balance and self body awareness of how to be in position. Yeah. So gymnastics is big. If you're going to have for any sport, if you're going to have a young child now, the first sport you should get them in is gymnastics. And then if you want to send them to baseball or football or basketball, whatever, then go that route.
Yeah.
I would get them in gymnastics to start with.
Balance, coordination.
Yeah.
When
Absolutely.
I thought too.
Shout out to Kent and their gymnastics place. No, would you ever thought that?
No, I wouldn't have thought of it, but it makes sense. Just
it does.
Wrestling and football makes sense.
Yeah. It does, but you don't see it. And you played the football world, and obviously I didn't play. I played the football world growing up, but with you going into that sport, how often whenever we were growing up, they had multiple sports where we played everything. Like he played football, I played football growing up, baseball. Everybody wanted to play everything.
Yeah.
Now it's like coaches, and I get it. They have a number one thrower. They don't want them to play basketball because you get injured. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, and I feel like that's kind of a thing now, right? Don't you think? Or is that kind of like, are they getting more immune to it where it's like, all right, listen, I have this guy. He's a badass tight end, but he's also our number one center in basketball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, is that, coaches are so worried about them getting injured where, do you have that a lot?
Injured,
I
or
mean,
just
like,
wanting them to
Yeah.
stick with their one.
yeah, stick with
Yeah,
one.
but that's the thing. I mean, you saw what Nick Saban did with that Owasso kid that got hurt and was out.
Yeah.
Nick Saban honorary scholarship. A lot of these colleges will do if you get hurt, give a scholarship. So the getting hurt aspect, I get it, but there's no guarantee that he's not going to get hurt in the same
Right.
sport he's participating in.
Right.
I read something when Ohio State won the national title. Out of their 60-man roster, they had like 39 that were multiple sport athletes.
Yeah.
And I think we missed the boat on that. And I don't care if your school is large as Broken Arrow, but I mean, smaller schools don't have the option.
Right.
Yeah.
That tight end, he's playing on the basketball
Yeah,
team,
he's
or
on-
he's
he's
going
a
to be
center.
your heavyweight in
Yeah.
wrestling.
Yeah.
So you have to share.
Yeah.
And I think there needs to be more of that. I think some of your best receivers should be playing basketball. The only thing that for the basketball aspect is when you get out in football in October or November, whenever the 1st of November, you're kind of priming up for basketball, so you're
Right.
kind of a little bit late. But there's so much emphasis that I put, well, you missed the start of the season. Well, season's long.
Yeah.
So those multi-sport guys, worry about the end in mind instead of the right now in mind,
Right.
and work them in. And you know what? You're going to play this person into shape. You're going to put them in those positions where
Right.
you think they're going to start for you. And I'm not going to worry that he's not my starter in November or December 1. I'm going to worry about February 15th,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
he's going to be starting at, and play him into shape, and and have a plan for him
Yeah.
to get in that condition that's
Right.
needed for that sport.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's sad that if we have kids that are general or specialist in sports, we shouldn't have that.
Right.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have that.
Yeah, I mean, when I was in Nebraska and I was covering sports back when I worked in the news, there's a lot of smaller schools around. A lot of schools that were the size of Tulsa schools were in Omaha or Lincoln on the other side of the state. So I got to cover a ton of kids that were playing football, and they're throwing the ball over the yard, running 80-yard touchdown passes. They're super athletes. They're looking super good, and they're making the highlights every Friday night football. Turn around and shoot basketball, and the same kids are the stars of the basketball team, and they're doing good, and I'm like, that's so cool to see them in both on the field and then in the gym, and they're loving it, and they're just having fun, and they're playing both sports, and they go and do something else, and it was just cool to see. I'm like, man, I remember that little wide receiver, playing his ass off.
Yeah.
For Ulaga up there, and then or Ogallala is what they have up there. Yeah, it's not a lot like Ulaga.
So,
and then
I know a lot of people from Willicott. You're hurting my feelings right now.
Ogallala, and then
They say it like that after some of these iced teas.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then he's just going, and he might have been a small wide receiver on the football field making plays still, but then he's just raining down threes.
Yeah, he's your point guard on basketball, right?
Yeah.
It should happen, and I've said this, and I've expressed this from my opinion. It's mine only. Whenever a coach tells a kid he needs to focus on one sport, I think he should be fired, not be allowed to coach in a district. That's just my opinion.
I agree.
It's just so beneficial. One of the most beneficial things, like you said earlier, is just going to a new coach in a new sport, and you're not getting beat by the same drum to say with the same coaching staff, and you may get tired of it, or it may just wear on you, or it could just. It's just a football coach, and then you go and you hear a different perspective on wrestling from the wrestling coach and different lessons that can build that young man or young woman's character too.
No doubt.
And add on to what the football coach is saying, and together they learn twice as many valuable lessons in life, twice as many character building practices or tournaments. It's like, why not? Why wouldn't you want that? Why wouldn't you root for
I
that?
agree. I totally agree with that.
That's
very
a great.
good sense.
That's a great point. And the part of that is when you take a coaching job at a school, are you truly bought into the athletic program, or are you not? Are you just selling it that you are? Because if you are, you're going to trust those kids in those other sports and those programs and those staffs.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just giving lip service to get the job.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm for everyone rowing the boat together in the same direction, and try to help us make us all successful. If I when I was coaching, I was excited and proud to go watch our kids play football on Friday night.
Yeah.
And watch them have success on the football field equally as much as I was when they're in their winning things and competing in wrestling. And coaches need to do it. Don't just say, I believe we got the best sports program around, and I believe in our administration. Well, do you?
Yeah. Do you actually?
Do you?
Yeah.
Then why aren't you letting your kid? Why aren't you? Because if you can talk that kid into staying out for your sport, why can't you talk him into going out for that sport?
Right. Yeah, and I feel like at the college level, and I'm sure it may be different everywhere, but the colleges I went to play athletics, it was, more so at the JUCO level. The baseball coach that I had, Phil Stevenson, he was, he knew if some kids were in other sports, they may be, in the off season where it's like spring, we're working out, they may be a little late because one of the kids is on the golf team.
Right.
And he talks to the golf coach and Coach Merrick, and he's like, yeah, I totally get it. He'll be here when he gets here, and then, he'll do his running when he gets here, and he'll fill in. And they were kind of all bought in on sharing time. And then with the coaching thing, there's a lot I learned from my high school coach. And then, I played football, but then when I got to college and saw a new high school baseball coach, he had a different philosophy. He had different experiences, so he taught the game differently. And I learned a whole new different part of baseball. Yeah. And then same with NSU, a different coach, different. And I'm like, man, I wish I would have got some of that exposure and different, playing more sports earlier, because you just learn and you see a different point of view of the game.
Yeah.
And of either sport,
Yeah. Well, and here's my thing too, is like, and I want to know this because I was going to ask him, and maybe he knows the inside of it. Like, so we have a Booker T. Washington, right? Which is, are they part of the Tulsa Public Schools?
It's a magnet school. For
schools. But why don't they have a wrestling program?
Well, they do now, but they didn't for the longest time.
How long now?
I don't know. The last I saw was in the 70s. Maybe it probably trickled into the 80s, and then.
So like,
is it funding? Because I don't know. That's a good question. Like, is it funding? Why
I don't know. Maybe, and so that's why I'm asking him, because the thing about it is, behind the scenes, he might know a lot of it, and he probably does. But I'm thinking, all right, Booker T. Washington. Like, I'm thinking football when R.W. McQuarters.
Yeah.
Freaking. It's like. Yeah, a bunch of dudes.
Yeah.
And you have all these amazing, not that there will be wrestlers.
I bet some of those guys would have been hell on the map, though.
But you know what I'm saying, though?
Oh, my God.
But you know what I'm saying?
So you look at this guy shooting no double leg on somebody.
Yeah,
He's jacked up.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I'm thinking of the athletes that I played against.
Yeah.
I'm like, shit, I'd never wrestle their ass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so we had a guy on our team went D1 to Kansas, call him Big John, and I played linebacker, and anytime the coach would be like, hit B gap, and I knew he was pulling, I was like, dude, I'm not going through there. And he just picked me up and laughed, and just throw me like a rag doll,
Some of those defense offensive linemen they had over there.
I'm like, man, can you imagine if he was a heavyweight wrestler?
Yeah.
But like, good God.
So do you know like some of that?
Well, it'd just be speculative. It would.
Yeah.
I know. There was a guy that was one of our volunteer coaches. His name was Dave Reese. It's funny because he worked with my mom at the post office.
Oh, really?
Yeah, good dude. And he actually helped get that program going again. I don't know. He may have been the reason why they started back up, but I know he was involved over there. And, it's like it's like anything, to have the program is, say we have a high school program, it's like saying, well, we're just putting the roof on first and we're not sure about the rest of the house.
Yeah.
So they don't really have that foundation they had a school called Kingpins. I don't know how active they are anymore, but having that youth program and then that middle school, and having the kids, that to fill those teams, I think that's probably one of their disadvantages. Being a magnet school, kids that want to play those sports can apply and try to get into there for that.
Yeah.
I don't know if they do that for wrestling because they don't have junior high wrestling. They haven't had it.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Just that they don't have that. They have historical part of it from when they've won some high school state championships back in the day. But from the foundation, I don't think they have a long-term foundation of a program from junior high and high school.
Yeah, and it's weird for the TPS schools because like Broken Arrow, Jinx, Bixby, a lot of these big Union, I mean, they have a school, which TPS is a school network, you know, like, but those schools will have junior high wrestling programs that feed into the high school. Booker T is one high school of many. And so the kids, there could be wrestling at, say, like Thoreau, but there's not wrestling for kids at Carver.
Right.
And they don't all feed to the same high school and have that stability of wrestling across all the middle schools. So there's no like junior high or middle school wrestling to lead up to a high school program wrestling where there's structure in these other schools.
And it's very rare that, not rare, but it is rare. You know, you talk a kid and coming out as a freshman.
Yeah.
And might be a great athlete.
Right.
Well, your great athlete goes out and get beat by a subpar wrestler and gets his ass kicked.
Yeah.
He's be like, I'm good. I'm going to go back over here and do this. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Versus him maybe have done it from 7th grade on.
Right.
Be like, dominate. So it's a tough ask for those kids to come in at that level.
Yeah, because that's going to be all the kids. I mean, I'm just assuming, but like you said, the kids that are going to be on the Booker T wrestling team, if they have 10 kids or whatever on the team, say maybe 20, it might be a pretty closer to 15 of those kids have never wrestled before in their life.
Yeah.
And 5 of them may have some experience at the junior high level.
Yeah.
But those other 15, they got a tough road to learn.
Yeah.
But you know what they all have experience at? If they played football, every one of those middle schools in TPS has middle schools.
Yeah.
Carver's they all have
They
middle
all
school
got football, basketball.
So that's the disadvantage. You know, they haven't put those options in there for them. Yeah. And that you talk about, that's what I talk about the humbling aspect of wrestling. You get your really good running back that decides he wants to wrestle, and he goes out there and gets humiliated. He feels like he's humiliated.
Yeah.
You know, they don't like the singlets anyways.
For sure.
But I mean, it's no different than what they wear in track. You know, they don't mind wearing those track suits. But but they go out and get humiliated and get because it's the mono part of the sport.
Yeah.
It's not like I got outran in a race or you know they scored more points than me in basketball or they outswam me in swimming. It's that person shook my hand and then kicked my ass.
Yeah.
And then I got to get up and look at all my peers around me and go.
Well, he could be stronger. He could be a stud, but no technique.
Anything.
It's a tough deal, and it'd be scary to see what they could do if they did implement it.
Yeah, I mean, if they had
like
some kind
a bunch of the athletes.
Start at least from 6th grade. Hell, even 7th grade.
Yeah. Gary Roberts did a really good job over at East Central. He had some middle school stuff going through there, and I think he's retired now. And for the longest time, they were probably the best TPS school for the longest time.
Like youth-wise?
Well, just they had a East Tulsa wrestling club, and it kind of fed in to those kids coming in and wrestling some junior high schedule. So Gary put that schedule together, put a staff together. He did a really good job over there, and he's retired. But I mean, hell, they'd won back in the day. They were competing for state titles. Maybe won a state title at East Central.
That's cool.
Back in the late 90s, maybe. They were the best. So it can be done.
Yeah.
And I'd hate to see what they can do with Booker T.
And that's the thing.
They decided to do it.
Well, we've seen athletes. I mean, he talked about it. I mean, he's known a bunch of those cats. I mean, a bunch of those cats that have very athletic football, baseball, and all that stuff. It's just kind of weird they didn't have a program. And, you know, but one thing that I want to know is, because I was there, what's the feeling like when you win that national title?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, because
they raised that hand.
Yeah, I mean, and then listen, I was crying, everybody was crying. I mean, it was. Like I told you, I felt like I wrestled.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't even sweat.
Where was it at? Was it in
Butte, Montana?
Yeah.
So it's a funny story. I'll tell you about the national tournament. So I was at Missouri Valley 2 weeks ago. They had an open tournament, and I was up there, and one of my old teammates was up there, and of course we all get to having some drinks out and start telling old stories again. So we're in Butte, Montana, and if you ever get a chance, you've met Mockles, but you mean he's a little bit short fella.
Best person in the world.
squirrely as shit. Love him. He knows it. But so we're in Butte, Montana, and it's the night before weigh-ins. And Link Davis was my workout partner. Goes with me to Nationals. I'm pissed. We're working out. I'm just mad. I got to lose 2 pounds, and I start beating the hell out of him. He gets mad at me. He takes off running down the road. There's 17 foot of snow on the ground. It's minus 30. They're driving the van down. Link, get in the van. He's mad. So then I said, I'm sorry. Then he's yelling at me, so I'm mad. So then we go to dinner. We're at dinner table, and it's about 5 o'clock in Butte, Montana, at this cafe thing, a chuck wagon place or whatever. And they get all the menus out and come to me, and I said, "So can I take your order?" I said, "Yep, I want some cheese fries." Mockles, he's not afraid to be vocal. He's down there and he puts his old meat down. "Cheese fries? You ain't getting no fucking cheese fries." I was like, "I want cheese fries." He goes, "You ain't getting no cheese fries." I'm like, "Well, F you." So I get up and leave. I left the restaurant. I walked down the road. I was gone for about 30 minutes. They're like, "Where the hell did he go?" I was pissed off. They made me mad. They wouldn't let me have cheese fries.
I never heard the story, so that's good.
They wouldn't let me have cheese fries. So I come back. I had a damn bird. Flat top. I don't got a flat top. I said, I'll show these sons of bitches. I'll go get a haircut. So I went and got a haircut.
Like the old Bosworth flat top?
Oh, flat top, dude. I was ready to go.
Shout out to Brock Lesnar on the flat top.
Dude. Shoot, I had flat tops before when he had him diapers on. But had that flat. I was like, you know what? He pissed me off. I'm getting an ass kicking haircut. So I went and got an ass kicking haircut and went back to the hotel. I told him, I said, "I'm winning this son of a bitch." I was a 3 seed in the tournament. I said, well, then we had one of my old coaches. He's since passed away. He's Rusty Roark. He goes, "Hey, you better win it because we got $100 bet on you with the guy at the bar." I was like, "Oh, no pressure."
No pressure now.
So that was
flat top.
So I got my flat top. So that was fast forward to. I'm sitting there warming up for my finals match, and he's like, "You got this." I said, "I'm winning this son of a bitch." He goes, "You better. We got $100 worth of shots bet on you." I was like, "All right." So I go out there and I think I won like 6-2. Wrestled a guy from, I don't remember, but he's in purple and black, and it was the most surreal feeling because, you know, talking about coming up in Broken Arrow and I was never the guy.
Yeah.
I was around the guys, had a lot of guys on my team, but I was never the guy.
Yeah.
You know, Kevin Donthon won the state championship. Kirk was the third. You know, I was never the guy to win the championship. And then that buzzer went off, and I just laid there and went straight back to my back, and it's like, I did it. I'm finally, I'm on top of the mountain.
You got that mountaintop, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, it was just such an awesome feeling, and one of the, for me, was coming off and truly seeing the people, my teammates, my workout partners, how excited they were.
Yeah.
You know, John White, one of my teammates, his dad was there, and as you're exiting, you go down this tunnel to go back. I don't remember what we had to do after, but something. And this kid was, you know, they want your autograph, and he goes, "Hey, can I have your knee pad? Will you sign it?" So I took my knee pad off and signed it for the kid, and that one kid goes, "Can I have your hanger?" And I go, "Sure." John White's dad snatched it from that kid. Goes, "Oh no, he's going to need that next year." It's took a hanger away from the kid, but you know and I was at the end of the tunnel. My coach was waiting for me because it snowed quite a bit, and my mom wasn't able to get there to Montana.
Yeah.
And he took me straight up to the payphone and had me call my mom.
Yeah.
And we were right there.
To tell her I won it.
It was me. Remember that?
Yeah.
Me.
And
yeah. Go ahead. So, yeah.
well, and
It's a special phone call right there.
Oh, it was. He's got my coach. They got a picture of it from when I was on the payphone with her in Butte, Montana, and talk about being poor. My mom didn't get to go to a lot of those things because she's always working.
Yeah.
And she took vacation. She was flying out. They were going to help her, help her get to the tournament, and she got snowed out, couldn't make it in, and it's the first thing I did when I got out there. Went out and called her, and but it was just so awesome because I knew we were tight, but when you experience that and you turn around and there's your family, with your teammates standing there with John and Joe Parisi was my roommate, one of my assistant coaches, and Mockles, Kevin Grage, Jeremy Dirks, Derek Lark. I mean, these guys. And these guys are from all over the United States, and they're your family standing there, and all they want to do is hug you, and tell you great job and celebrate with you. And Link Davis. I mean, Link Davis was a huge part why I had my success. He kept me grounded and kept me focused and kept me believing. When I was trying to be a sissy and not think I could make weight and all that, I mean, I was just blessed to have such great people around me, and every one of those are still great friends of mine today. And that's the one thing about wrestling is when you're in that family, like you talked about earlier, it's forever. I talked to John White, my teammate. He's coming down to Big 12. Jeremy, and he lives in Kansas. Jeremy Dirks, one of my teammates, coming down from Iowa. Going to Big 12. I think Dr. Joe Parisi, who's now the president of Missouri Valley College, he may be coming down. All these people. Bobby Lashley may be coming up. We got a thing getting together in June. I mean, winning was the ultimate thrill. But the ultimate prize for me was these relationships that I got from all these guys that 52 are my friends, my lifelong friends today. I know I can call John White, who might be in a tractor burning up corn in Kansas.
He's the biggest son-of-a-bitch I've ever
Tell
seen.
him I need something. And he'll be in his truck bringing it, whatever I need, he'll be there. I mean, that's just, you just don't get that in a lot of sports. And,
you don't. And I could tell you my baseball guys that I play with, I couldn't tell you half of them that we stay connected, right? I mean, and I'm more connected with all of those wrestling buddies through Mo Valley and stuff. But what's even cooler is like I've had those guys that have families that have literally come down and spent Thanksgiving with us. Whenever they were like, hey, listen, and we didn't have none. We said our mom's small stuff, and we're like, hey, this is what it is. People don't understand. We were poor. You know what I mean? But what we did is our parents worked their asses off to make sure that we never missed a fucking sport, never missed a day.
You always had what you needed.
Yeah, you had what you needed. And Haley sings with my mom. She's hard-nosed. She hates people. I think she hates people. But she's the biggest heart ever, right? You know what I mean? But what makes it, the wrestling community, I've seen it growing up with you. It is, even at this era, those guys are so tight. Like, I mean, we've had people DM us, like, want to come on. Like, I mean, and I kind of want to get into the college aspect of it, where what's the dude, the Fix guy from OSU?
Yep, Dayton Fix.
Yeah, so it's a whirlwind, right? There's a bunch of the OSU Cowboys. I mean, who do you think is going to be the top dog of, not even individually, but I'm just saying, like, who's going to be that guy? Or maybe that guy or team-wise?
The team race is a foregone conclusion, I think. I think Penn State's running away with it. Yep.
Because they're one right now, and Oklahoma State's two.
So you think they're going to just whoop OSU, or like?
Well, we'll find out Sunday. OSU duels against Iowa on Sunday.
Oh,
in Stillwater.
We follow them and they follow us, but it's like, they have a bunch of those wrestlers.
You talk about Dayton Fix. You brought his name up. I've known. Heck, his dad was coaching Sapulpa when I was coaching at Broken Arrow. I've known them a long time. I think this is the year Dayton's going to get his title, and I hope he does because he's deserving of it. He's a good young man. He needs to get him that title.
Yeah.
Dude's phenomenal. I mean, hell, he's won world medals, and that's the thing about wrestling's just hard, man. I mean, you got him that goes out and wins junior world titles and senior bronze or silver medals, and he gets beat the NCAA.
I seen it.
You know, I mean, that's
like,
just
oh
how
my
tough.
gosh.
It's just so tough.
Yeah.
You know what? So my son went and wrestled at Wyoming, and
Is he still there?
no, he's older and he works out at Spirit Aero Systems.
Shout out to Spirit Aero.
Shout out to Spirit.
Richard Kaz come out.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
So I went to watch him in Kearney, Nebraska at a wrestling tournament. Kearney, Nebraska. And this is how I was, you think about, they talk about to win a national championship in football, to win it in this sport. I was thinking about this. You may have 100 and whatever teams in D1, whatever, but you break wrestling down. So he's wrestling at Wyoming. He's on one Saturday, and this is one tournament of 10, 20, 30 going on around the country, college tournaments. So he's at this one tournament. It's got about 400 dudes at it.
That's crazy.
And that's just in one small town of, and they're going all over the United States at one time, one weekend. And then you go through that and you get to the NCAA tournament. You go through your deal and you qualify.
Yeah, which is
so you just keep filtering the best of 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 the best.
Yeah.
Then you get there and it's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It takes you got to have a lot of things go right. You got to be prepared, and you got to wrestle your best that weekend. It's tough.
Yeah, even getting all the way there that weekend, you better be on your P's and Q's.
Well, yeah. I mean, when RBY. I mean, he's damn good, but no one would have thought that Fix would have got beat.
Yeah, I didn't.
Fix got beat by the Cornell guy, I think.
But
you just wouldn't have thought he would have got beat.
I remember him getting beat, and I was flipped up because I was like, "Holy shit!" That's a crazy. But going into this weekend, so this was cool. Ethan and I was so glad that you came on, and we want to talk wrestling stuff, and we're going to have more wrestlers on. But
I'd like to have you back.
I'd
love
to. And then going into this weekend, so we got. So is it 6A or is it all classes?
So it's all classes, but they're breaking it up in two different time schedules. Like the first day, 3A, 4A wrestles in the morning is the first round. Then the 6A, 5A, 6A second round. Then they all come together on the next 2 days. It's really weird, but the finals will be all one class finals. Okay. One class. Kind of like you talked about Penn State for the high school this weekend. I don't ever want to not give my BA boys the hope and respect they deserve, but I think it's a foregone conclusion. Edmund Norse, the front runner, I mean they won 13 out of 14 weight class at the regional tournament last week.
Jeez.
With one guy getting a runner-up. Now I will say this: they qualified 14 for the state tournament. Broken Arrow qualified 14 for the state tournament. We've Broken Arrow. Shout out Rod Jones. They've 3 out of the last 5 years they've qualified all 14 weight class state tournaments. That's impressive.
Yeah, that's impressive.
That's what you call a program right there.
Yeah. Listen,
not just good teams.
And here's the deal, Coach Jones. I mean that whole legacy, and I say legacy because it has been a legacy through Broken Arrow. And like I said, I being around wrestling, those guys have changed. Not necessarily Broken Arrow because I love Dunny. He's changed the whole deal and all that stuff. But those guys, people want to wrestle for them.
Oh, there's no doubt.
You know what I mean?
You talk about, you want to leave things better than they were when you got there.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they've done.
Yeah.
Talk about the Joneses. So we talked about Ernie Jones. I got to wrestle Little League. Ernie was my high school coach, or my uncle's high school coach. Ernie's son Sean was head coach at Broken Arrow. Was my son's coach.
Really?
And Biff and Rod was my son's coach.
Wow. So
through school. So now Rod is now the head coach. Sean has since retired, and Biff's moved to Jinx, and Rod's the head coach.
Yeah.
And now Ernie, who is my uncle's head coach, is now coaching for his dad at Broken Arrow.
It's like
So
a
imagine-
legacy.
Yeah,
Family
it's,
legacy.
it's awesome. Yeah,
That's what I said.
So,
legacy.
so I have this picture of my uncle at homecoming when he's in high school, and they got a little, they bring the little crown bearers and all that, the little kids,
Yeah.
It's my uncle or Sean Jones in the picture with my
That's cool.
uncle when he was in high school.
Yeah.
So it's just
Yeah.
cool how it's all come full
Oh,
circle. And Broken Arrow is blessed to have Rod Jones and Rod Jones, Big Ernie, Bobby Miller's came. He's a new coach, done a great job. I mean, they got a hell of a coaching staff. They work their butts off. And the thing that, if you'll talk to those kids, the culture that they've built of family and a program is second to, they may not win this year, but they have a program and a culture that every kid wants to be a part of once they experience it.
Yeah.
We've had kid moved in from another school district that had some personal family issues there and moved in, and he said, this is the best thing's ever happened to him in his life. I mean, that's what you want out of your program.
Well, that's what Big U was talking about. I mean, it's like you go to these different coaches. Sometimes it might be how he says it, or it might be the way that he coaches, or it might be say, you know what, listen, it's not all about winning, or maybe it might be all about winning, or it might be say, listen, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get you there. The way we need it. I mean, when we were growing up, it's like, listen, we didn't have those people.
No.
I had a Ross Davis on the baseball world, and you had all these mentors and stuff. It's like, like he was talking about, is sometimes it takes a little bit of flip to have
Could be something different. Could be a dash of something else that you've been missing. And like you said, that culture that they're building is clearly based on, building like a family culture and accountability and reliability.
Yeah.
And obviously it's something Broken Arrow cherishes because it's gone through the family line.
Well, it is. And if you ever get a chance to get on Roku, which is the Oklahoma
TV?
Wrestling, it's a
Shout out to Roku.
looking for sponsors.
Looking for sponsors.
I got room over here. Yeah, we got patch on.
We're gonna be like the Bull Riders.
Yours is
the
looking a
best.
little empty over
They
here.
have the whole deal.
Hey, I'll come in. I'll tat it up next time.
Yeah.
They send me a couple $, mailbox money. But if you get on this, it's Oklahoma Wrestling on Facebook, and they got this Roku thing. They interview BA kids. Every one of them talks about family.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
All about they all talk about family,
Yeah.
community, family, and that's what you want.
Yeah.
And the thing is you talk about two different coaches. My notebook on you might be different than his notebook on you. So when you go to him, it's a different set of notes, and, and it's good for kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good for kids, and maybe the way I talk to you versus the way he talks to you.
Yeah.
And I bring something different out of it than what he would bring out of it. And that's the perspective you get, and the benefit when you have those kids going and being involved in other coaches and other sports.
Yeah.
And, maybe that family dynamic's different on the basketball team, and maybe a kid needs to experience that.
Yeah.
Maybe they do something. Maybe that basketball program, those tight ends and wide receivers, whoever it may be, needs to be involved in that, because just maybe it's that community service project they do that make an impact in that kid's life. That they don't maybe wouldn't have got.
Right.
Those are the things that are important.
Yeah, and you never know. I mean, I know, the moms in the sporting community, and the dads, but usually the moms, at least in my experience with sports, different sports, that some of them might bring a little cooler full of little Gatorades, or they might bring some snacks, or they might say, hey, why don't you boys come over? We're having a cookout, or I brought a bag of burgers. I know you boys are hungry. Been playing ball tournament long, and the moms are different in different sports. And some of those kids, they might have a certain mom, just like teachers we all had, that you're like, man, I don't have a mom, or and Miss Teresa, she treats me right. And I love her. It makes my whole day whenever I know we got a tournament and she's bringing that bag of Brahms burgers.
True,
and that's something they might not have gotten in another sport, and they just love it. And they love being around that atmosphere. And it's just something I think overall you should experience, and I
There's
think
no doubt about it.
it's such a good thing,
Well, I mean, I mean, he's taught me this too. He's like, I mean, it sucks because tough love is the thing. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes you gotta grind it. You know what I mean? Sometimes you gotta say, "Listen, motherfucker."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're doing this wrong.
Yeah.
He said it to me before.
You can't say that now. You'll probably get fired if you.
Oh,
coach
yeah.
today.
Well, I don't-
Mo,
get
you're
fired.
actually fired
Listen,
from the podcast.
Hey,
Why don't
it's
you head on
called
out,
it's
brother?
called Mo Chatta with Big E.
Yeah,
so
well,
I'm just saying, if you're coaching at a,
I ain't coaching no more.
I'm just glad they didn't have cell phones when I was coaching, or microphones.
But you know what I'm saying, though?
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, you know, the thing I think it needs to be more incorporated to what we have. I mean, it's kind of like, I mean, I hate saying this, but even in our softball world,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you know, we have somebody that is struggling or something. Not a pitching, bro. I'm fucking automatic.
You're all right.
I'm saying, like, something happens where, you know, you got to have that tough love. But in the same way in the coaching aspect of it, where, you know, a lot of people don't like that. And to me is, I want that coach to be aggressive. I mean, it kind of goes back to where whenever you played, they grabbing the face mask, yelling. You can't do that no more, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but I think the tough love is a huge thing in sports, and it needs to be more of. What do you think?
I'm 100% agreeing with you on that, and I think you can do it without mofoing the kid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now I say that as a guy that may or may not have mofoed the kid. But I think that's where the problem lies in sports, is that the parents have this, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them will have this idea that, you know, their kid's the next Michael Jordan, their kid's the next Tom Brady, and they don't tell them the truth and provide that tough love, tough angle. You know, I think one thing when my son realized, I was just not trying to be critical of him, I was just trying to be honest with him.
Yeah.
And not sugarcoat it. Just tell him, hey,
Right.
you've got to work on these things, or nothing's going to change.
Right.
It clicked,
Yeah.
and you know, to deliver difficult information and that toughness to them. You know, we don't have it. We don't have it as a whole, which we do need that.
Yeah.
Critical for success.
I firmly believe this: kids need structure.
Yeah.
Kids need discipline. Kids do need tough love. Kids need to learn how to fail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
And as parents, get out of the way and quit trying to save them all the time.
Right.
Allow them to fail.
Yep.
Be there to lend support and build them back up, and go help find the tools necessary to make them successful. And it's that coach's job to help them. You know, it doesn't do good when you got a guy that he's a hard ass coach.
Well, sure.
And all he does is come in there and chews your ass out for 2 hours.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like, how did I get better today?
Yeah. What did I build off there?
Yeah.
You know, you can do it.
Yeah.
In a systematic approach, and I'm not saying sunshine and rainbows. I mean, but you can do it.
Yeah.
But you can't be tough love all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Well, if you're going to get onto them, you're going to chew their butts when you better dang sure be loving on them too.
Yeah,
Right.
They need to be loved.
Yeah.
Well, and then on what you're talking about, like so Pat Foster I mean, I love he's a Hall of Fame baseball coach now. He's my first coach I ever worked with, and he told me this. He's like, he probably don't remember because his memory's horrible, but he said, "Listen, it's tough love. Be tough, but if it never becomes where you show them the love, the tough is gone because or the love because the only thing they'll remember is the tough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can never get to him as a coach. And I remember that my first year at Lincoln Christian. He came up to me. He goes, "Listen, you're a hard ass. You're trying to do whatever you can. And I was trying to make my mark, right? You know, I knew everything about baseball, which I knew nothing about baseball.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Listen," he goes, "give them tough love, but also make sure you give them the love."
Yep.
Right? And that's
true.
off.
You know, it's funny you say that because
It's a good saying.
Dunlap and I, we had a system. We had the good cop, bad cop.
Yeah.
Dunny's was over screaming and kicking the wall, and and chewing some
First of
ass.
all, seeing Dunny do that is just yeah.
If I could demonstrate, he had no whistle and he's kicking that wall. Yeah, but it's funny because the old wrestling room is wood and the old thing was bent in because he kicked the hell out of it. But we had good cop, bad cop, and I'd be over kind of, hey man, don't listen to him, you know. He's just in a bad mood, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and we play those roles, you know, and you got to have that. You got to have that. You know, and he loved Dunlap knew, and you know, you have a naked wrestler come in crying to you about his problems at home. And Dunny'd shut the door, put a towel on, shut the door, let's talk. Yeah, Dixon, let's talk. And but you got to have. You can't just be hammering these kids all the time. And but the love. That's a great point about showing the love.
Yeah. It has to be. I mean, it's tough love. It's not being tough without the love.
But it's like anything else too, though. You know, if that child is at home for 18 hours. Well, they're what it was 6 hours of school, 3 hours. So that's say 10 hours. So they're at home 14 hours a day, and they're at school, and then practice for the other 8 to 10. Well, those parents got to do their part at home too, not just they can't do anything, and then they're undisciplined there and expect to show up and have a different result.
Oh yeah.
Well, coach, why you let him act like that? Well, and then, or they get mad at you because you discipline them.
Yeah. Right.
It's like, come on.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. There's another half to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey, listen. I mean, the thing about it, this is what I love. I love that you're here.
Yeah.
Thank you for showing up. I mean, I think this is a great kind of deal for us this weekend. I mean, especially we got the state tournament coming up.
Yeah.
And then we got the BOK. I mean, we love to
playoff
see.
wrestling
I mean,
season
especially
right
like you know, maybe come back before the Big 12.
Yeah.
See if we get some. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, see if we got
2 weeks Big 12. 2 weeks from Saturday is Big 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you said you got some guys coming in town.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you guys go to the Arena Pub and Grill across the street from the BOK.
Well, we can find it. We could chop it
Yeah,
up.
that's
These guys,
listen,
you're gonna love these guys talking.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah,
they're coming in town.
let's just do it. Let's just plan on it. So when you come in town, let's make it happen.
And one last thing, like little quick question, because I know it's playoff wrestling, and people in other sports talk about when it's playoff time, you start ramping up more. It's a different intensity. And I'm sure that's the same with wrestling. Do you see that when it's at the high school level and college level, especially? I know you've been at both. You've participated yourself. I mean, won a national championship. When it comes to wrestling season, and not everybody has cheese fries to piss them off, but is there something that will get? Is it like all the wrestlers? They know it's time to kick it up a notch, and there's a different intensity.
Well, in wrestling, I think most successful programs are those coaching staffs. I would venture to think between the qualifying, before qualifying for whatever tournament, may say it's the state tournament, so it's about staying healthy because there's nothing new you can do.
Yeah.
In those 4 days of practice that you haven't done the previous 4 months, it's going to be something secret.
Right.
That's going to, it's just getting your mind prepared.
Yeah.
Keeping your body healthy, maintaining your weight properly, and just going out and taking it one match at a time.
Yeah.
I really felt the thing we did, it wasn't the physical side as much, because we didn't go hard. After regional, actually before regionals, our mindset was we did a lot of mental toughness drills, mental aspect.
Yeah.
Because wrestling, I was convinced that a lot of times you get to those tournaments, and it's such a grind, and wrestling is so hard. You put kids in tough situations. A lot of them are just looking for a reason to quit.
Yeah.
So let's give them a reason to quit.
Or not fail.
Yeah.
Or
we don't want to give these other people a reason to quit and be done with their season.
Yeah.
Right.
But we weren't ready to be done, and so we do these mental toughness drills. And like, you know what? Let's take him to the deep waters and get him tired and give him reason to quit. He might beat us 3 times before, but we're both showing up undefeated state tournament.
Yeah, exactly.
It's anyone's game.
Yeah.
0-0.
And so, that mental aspect is probably the one thing that you can focus on more
Yeah.
versus anything of, just managing your weight.
Yeah.
You can't do a lot, you're not going to do a lot of live wrestling. You might do some simulations.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
And
that's when you go into it, it's like, we'll close with this. It's like, what makes it cool is when you go into this is, as seniors, this is all done.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you may not ever go to the collegiate level.
This may be your final match.
Might be your final match. So do I go into it, how do I prep that guy or that kid as a coach mentally by saying, you know what I'm saying? And I know we're closing up or whatever, but one thing that I want to know is
Don't piss off the boss over there.
I know. Yeah. So as a coach, how do I prep that? I mean, when you
And
we'll close
I know
with
what
that.
I would
you know what I
do.
mean?
I'd play.
Here's my approach is what is your mark going to be that you've left on this program?
Yeah.
How are you going to be remembered? And what's your contribution going to be to this team as an outgoing senior?
I love it.
Get your blood going.
You have a chance to leave your legacy from a part of this program. What's it going to be?
Yeah.
Are you going to be the guy that's going to go out and be in a tough situation and look for the easy way out?
Yeah.
Or are you going to go battle till the end and see what happens?
Yeah.
And
Because that end of the battle could mean a scholarship.
Who knows?
You know what I'm saying?
knows?
So I've been saying
Who knows?
so like what you're saying is, what we live with our whole lives is like, at the end is what matters, right? So I mean, so to get there as an athlete, it's like, listen, I'm gonna battle my ass off to try to get as much as I can, and I'm gonna leave my mark.
Yeah.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
And there may
big
be that
weekend.
one coach is like, you know what? This guy wrestled the number 1 seed, lost to him double overtime, and battled his guts out. Maybe he was a 4 seed and come back and got 3rd or 4th, and they saw something they liked, and they give him that opportunity.
Yeah.
And to me though, it's if you in a place like Broken Arrow in your family, what are you going to do? What legacy are you leaving within your family when you walk off that mat very last time?
Yep.
Whether it's your last match or maybe another opportunity happens.
Yeah.
What is your legacy going to be left, and how is it going to be left?
good point.
And what are you going to do to give back to this program that's giving you everything it's got for your entire wrestling career?
Yeah, and I'm excited to see what happens this weekend and see the results and I mean it'd be great to because you're gonna be at the tournament all weekend.
Yeah, leaving tomorrow. It starts tomorrow afternoon. And then I would challenge you guys. You can go on OSSA's website and go and look at the brackets, and it'll show the seeds. And then when the tournament's over, go back and look and see how they panned out.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what I was gonna say too. Keep an eye on it, and we can post it too. The updates.
Yeah,
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, because it's always fun. I know at the Big 12 Championship to go out and they have those giant leaderboard tournament brackets. And after each day when it's over, it's fun to go look.
Yeah.
And so, if you could send it to us, I'd love to post it. And
once it comes, I mean, we would love, especially we'll go to arena. Shout out to Ted, lower your prices. But we'll come over to.
Especially 2 weeks, Ted.
about 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now. So, anyways,
two for
we'll
one.
come over there and then we'll bring it, and we would love to hear from your buddies.
Yeah,
and
we'll get
stuff,
John John and Jeremy and.
Yeah. I mean, but think about this. We appreciate, I love you.
Yeah.
And it's cool for us because I've been around it, but I still don't know it. But it's very, very cool how we had it.
Yeah, I'm glad we had you on. I'm glad to follow the tournament and state, and I'm glad to see what happens. And then a lot of other postseason wrestling coming up at the OK Center, and to hear from your guys you went to war with that are coming into town. Yeah,
I'll tell you a funny story real quick before we leave. John White, guy coming down, So
I can't wait till you
So,
meet
so
this
the
motherfucker.
year I won the national title, I lost my ranking match to him.
Was he on your
He
team?
was on my team.
Listen, this
I lost my ranking match.
Put this
to
on me
him.
real quick. Can you zoom in on here? Listen to this. John White is the biggest corn-fed motherfucker. When I went there, listen, he's fucking big motherfucker, and I love him.
And
I love him. But here's the thing: he'd always come by at my valley. He's like, "I'm gonna whoop your fucking cousin's ass." So here we are.
What's the
My ranking, they call it purple and orange. Never forget, wrestled that son of a bitch. I couldn't take him down. He's hard in hell to take down. He beats me. I get off mat and I ran all the way back to the dorm. I didn't even fucking know about it. And then just worked out. He felt he could do better at 190, and I was at 77. And something happened during the year, and we had a duel with one of our rivals, and coach goes, our 67 pounders out. And I said, F it, I'll make it. So I went down. I just beaten, so I end up, thanks John for going up, because I end up getting back to 177 spot. So I end up going wrestling the Midwest Classic. I end up beating the #1 national champion guy, returning national champ in the finals of Midwest Classic. So I'm like #1 ranked guy. Felt I was #1 ranked guy. Going into 77 that year, I would have been. But I ended up going down and wrestling 67. And seeded third in the tournament. So it all worked out though. But yeah, John was a tough son of a bitch. Man. He's hard to take down.
But we can,
We'll
go to arena.
You'll get so much. Yeah, we'll have some good.
Yeah,
stories.
we'll get 10, and we'll get everything going at the arena.
Yeah,
and then,
that'd be awesome. There's some good
and then
stories
that,
too.
hell, if it's 30-minute bullshit. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what.
There'll be some good bullshit going on. I guarantee it. Those guys.
Thanks for coming out.
Yeah.
Love you, bro.
Love you.
Hey, thanks for
having
coming
me.
on.
Great job you got
for
going
sure.
there.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys.
Hell yeah.